Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 212. Hopefully, you guys had an amazing Tuesday. I've had a very productive Tuesday myself, not as much as I needed to get done, but still a very productive Tuesday. Man, get a special treat with you, a very amazing grower. You've heard him on the Cheap Home Grow or Growing with My Fellow Home Growers on the Cheap Home Grow Network. I always mess that up for some reason. Noah the Grower, how you doing? You want to tell us how you're doing and where all we can find you?
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm Noah the Grow with 2 E's from Instagram, and yeah, I'm a panelist member on the Cheap Home Grow, or that's what I go by too. And I'm one of the more original guys. I've been on there for about a year and a half now, and yeah, nice for you to have me on here, man. I'm excited to do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Always a year and a half. That's a long time to be on any one show, man. You guys been killing it over there. You guys been dropping some knowledge for quite some time.
Yeah, there's quite a few ninjas on that panel, man. I mean, that you're just talking about a murderer's row of just OG growers. Brandon Rust is about as legit as they get. Dr. MJ Coco knows what the heck he's doing. Jack Greenstock, the host. I mean, he's a badass and he knows his shit. I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. So I kind of know a thing or two myself. So we all play off each other really well. Kyle Predicated Breeding. There's a lot of guys on there that just they know their stuff. So I have a blast, man. I just love kicking it with those guys. And Spartan Grown, you came really well talked about from him. And if any of those guys consider you a good guy, then you're a good guy in my book. So I'm happy to be here.
I try, that's for sure. I try, that's for sure. And I believe I've had all the above on the show.
Nice.
I think every one of them's been here. All top notch guys, that's for sure. All top notch guys. So hopefully you got something to smoke on. You're gonna be able to smoke through this.
Oh yeah. I got all kinds of stuff, man. I got some really good Gorilla Glue 4. I got a really choice cut of platinum that I've had for a while. I got a fruit punch cut. Let's see here. I think right now I got Dosey Does and Gorilla Glue. That's pretty much what I got right this second. But like everything I post on my Instagram is like, I don't post old stuff. Like everything you see posted on my Instagram page, that's like legit what I'm doing. Like right now I just posted some Dosey Dose 55, a picture of that. That's got about a week and a half left. And I got a platinum one that I'm pulling down. One of my punches, 3 I have underneath that light. And like I said, because I had my ankle reconstructed, it's kind of a tough deal for me to get out there, but I'm going to try and hobble out there and, I'll try and throw some live in my room. My room's my baby, man. It's, that's my garden, that's where that's my solitude place. That's where I go to and, I get stuff done, and it's just it's almost like therapy for me. I totally dig it. And, I live, sleep, breathe, eat this stuff, man. I love it. It's my life. How about you? How long have you been doing this? You're on mute, man.
I love to do that. Thank you, by the way.
No problem.
20 years I've been doing this now. I can somewhat say that, publicly, without getting into too much trouble, I guess.
Yeah, me too. 20 years. Yep. Straight up. I'm 41. I've been doing this pretty much exclusively, just like you said, it's like you kind of got to tiptoe around what you can say, but yeah, I've been a medical card holder for about 10 years now, but, I've been involved in cannabis, since I was in 10th grade. I've been smoking it and You know, I'll just say I've been involved in cannabis for over 20 years myself.
Can you tell us roughly, at least the state you're growing?
Yeah.
In?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm in Washington State. I put that on my Instagram. I'm a WMMP, Washington medical marijuana patient. I have been for about 10 years. I got, and you know how that goes. I mean, if you know anything about most medical marijuana states, it's fairly easy to get your card, but I'm not your typical just get your card guy. I have quite a few health problems. Like my ankle, I jumped off like a bridge that had dirt underneath it on a dare when I was like 18, and I had to have that fused when I was 18. And so that's why I had to have it rebuilt, because it was so arthritic. But that's pretty much where I started getting my medical card, was for that. And I've had shoulder surgery. I've had wrist surgery. I have a metal valve in my heart. I have a pacemaker. I've had open heart surgery. I mean, I got a lot of I'm a real medical marijuana patient, not one of these guys that, got a backache or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, I'm the guy that does all that. And, I got quite a few friends who were, involved in the medical scene and were involved in the whole medical scene before it became recreational legalized in Washington State. So yeah, I live right over the bridge from Portland, Oregon. So in Washington State.
Holy shit, man. That's a list. That's a medical record, brother.
Yeah,
for a young man. I mean,
yeah,
that's quite a list for a I like to think I'm 48. I like to think I'm still fucking young. So don't mind when I call you a young man, because I hope we'd like to think we're young men still.
For sure. Yeah, I got 3 kids. They're all adults now. My youngest is 18, so that's a nice all out of the house. So that's a nice little thing, nice bonus thing there. But that's why I've always been so focused on, trying to be, with it, the way cannabis and marijuana is. It's a gray area, you know what I mean, when it comes to growing and, everything that goes along with that. And, but I've been, I always try to do everything I can as legal as I can. And, I'm thankful for the medical marijuana program that I'm involved with. And, I've been a patient with them from day one. And, I know the doctors, and I know the guy that actually, owned it at first, Paul Stanford. He was a big, like hemp guy over in Oregon. And he was like a really big, proponent of, I forget the prop that they got over there with Oregon to get their state legalized. And, and of course, Washington, we got it legalized pretty much right there, with Colorado is, a couple of the first 2 states there, along with California here on the West Coast. So you are over like Michigan, or?
Yeah, I'm in Michigan. I'm in about 3/4 up of the way in the mid there. But
nice.
Yeah, I'm a patient and a caregiver as well here in the mitten.
Yeah, I'm a caregiver for a couple patients as well. I used to have a collective with a lot more patients, but after I had my open heart surgery, I just decided that I better just kind of narrow it down a little bit. And that was a big life-changing thing here about 4 years ago I had to go through. But I'm just like you said, I'm only 41, so I'm just happy to be alive, man. I'm just happy to be, every day's a blessing, and I dig it. I just have a great time, and I love life, and I have a great time every day, man. Just trying to make every day my best day.
I should hope so. That's what we all need to be doing, really, is just making sure that we get the most out of every day, not to try to dwell on, things that could be wrong at the time. No good in that shit. So when did When did you actually start smoking? And, you know, briefly touching on your Instagram, tons of amazing flower, by the way.
Appreciate
tons
that.
and tons of amazing flower.
Yeah, I've been smoking since 1995, man. I was in 10th grade, and a couple buddies at a party, you know, and I don't know, pretty much typical, you know, stuff. And you know, you know, it was 20 years ago, so you know, I'll talk about it now. You know, I jumped right in, you know, and was you know, the middle guy, and just kind of, you know, piddled around this and that, and you know, nothing. You know, I wasn't, you know, no big time guy, but you know, I was always just kind of the guy that just wanted to, you know, get stoned for free, and you know what I mean, hook buddies up, and just, you know, it's just camaraderie thing. And you know, I mean, I met a lot of really cool people, a lot of really cool girls and stuff like that growing up. I mean, I had a real adventurous, you know, lifestyle when I was younger. I had two different kids by two different women before I could buy my first drink. So I was real, you know, fun, you know, hippie kind of guy. I had real long hair, and just, yeah, you know, I did all that. I got a big pot leaf tattoo when I turned 21, because I got, the only time I've ever been in jail was one day. I got busted for possession of pot here. You know, it wasn't legal. And shoot, I think it was probably 2000. So 20 years ago. And I did a day in jail, and literally within a couple of months, I got a big tattoo. You know, I was kind of a rebel, and just never really could understand, you know, why, you know, you had to get thrown in a cage for a plant, you know, when you got a lot of other worse things and a lot of other worse people. Like you know, I can kind of talk to police, you know, and I talked my way out of, you know, I don't even know how many tickets, you know, saying stuff like, I don't understand why you're wasting your time with me doing this. And you got people selling, you know, meth and heroin and, you know, rapists and all this stuff, you know, you're spending your time in court money and tax money and, you know, all this stuff on me. And it usually worked. But when I got busted, when I was the manager at a restaurant outside smoking with my crew, and I'm just sitting there in a car smoking a pipe, and freaking cops tapping on the window with his flashlight, you know, it's kind of hard to talk you out of that one. So yeah, that was a bummer deal. But you know, I got smarter, and because of that, and also I kind of jumped in head first right there at 21. I mean, it was just like, all right, you know, now I'm really going to do this, you know, and I really haven't looked back. I've really just been involved in cannabis, if you know what I'm saying. That's pretty much what I've done my whole life. That's it. You know, I mean, in one way or another, I've been involved in it, growing it, and doing my thing, you know, this whole time. No regrets.
I have to agree with that 100%. I've never looked back myself. Never looked back.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, was you just a rec user in the beginning, or did you realize it had some medical value to it right off the get?
I knew right off the bat. You know what I mean? I knew right off the bat with my shoulder, and I dislocated my shoulder 3 different times. Then I had to have it rotor cuff surgery. That's a major surgery. When I was 23, I think it was, and yeah, I mean, I would get a prescription of, you know, hydrocodone or whatever, pain pills, and because of weed, I would never really use it. You know, I did just medicate myself with, you know, cannabis, and I've always been kind of a connoisseur. I've always been the guy that, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, you know, I don't know, you know, what Michigan was, you know what I mean? Around here, it was, you know, 40 an eighth, and you know, but if you knew somebody, you might get some really good stuff for 45 or 50. And I was always the guy that wanted that killer weed. I never wanted to mess around with, you know, budget or anything like that. You know, I've always just wanted the best, because that's where you're going to get your real medicinal qualities. Is the better the weed, you know, the better medicinal qualities going to have, you know. The more the THC is going to relieve your pain, you know, the more the higher CBD it's going to have, it's going to, you know, give you, you know, anti-swelling and different things like that I didn't even really know. I didn't even really know if I knew it, you know. It just did it, and I did know that I was able to not take pain pills in extremely painful situations, because I don't know if it was me just kind of forgetting about it because I was getting stoned so much, or because, yeah, I mean, I smoked an eighth a day for a long time growing up. That was just it. Or if I didn't if I didn't have it, I didn't. But that's pretty much where I was at. I was a heavy smoker, and have been my whole life.
I can appreciate those numbers. I can appreciate them numbers. I can definitely relate to smoking right about that much per day, easy. So, what were your first strains like? Tell me about that first grow.
My first grow. So I had a family member that knew what they were doing, and they kind of just, I hit the ground running. I really did. I got really good advice, but I was smart enough to listen to it. That's the one thing. I mean, I don't know if you've got friends that ask you for advice. I'll have people asking for advice, and I tell them, and then they don't do it. And then they wonder why they're not growing as good as me. It's like, I mean, not that I'm like this, ninja grower, but I mean, I know my stuff, and I just feel like, hey man, don't ask me for my opinion if you don't want it. But I remember I was growing strawberry ice was one of my very first strains that I grew. I actually just recently cut that out of my garden. I kept it for a really long time. And then I had orange blossom, and there's some of that on my page. I had that for a long time, and then I gave it to a buddy, and then I got it back, and I still have a buddy. I could still get it back if I wanted, but I've been experimenting with some newer stuff. I got there's a store over here in Portland that has some really good strains and expendy, but I just got LA Kush Cake. I ran that. I already cut that out. It's good, but if it isn't the best, I don't keep it. I try and just accumulate the best strains that I can. I'm kind of a strain snob like that. I mean, I'd rather grow 2 platinum plants or 2 punch plants or 2 do-si-do 55s or whatever. I got this overflow G plant that is really, really good, really tasty. That weed that when you smoke it and you smoke, you in a room, and then you leave the room, you can come back in, you can still smell that sweet smell. That's that real skunk that overflow G is. And I'm lucky, man. I got some really good strains right at the beginning, and some really good advice from close family member, and I hit the ground running. My very first grow was in a little teeny closet. I bought a little 600 watt switchable ballast, and started off with a 400 watt metal halide veg bulb, and got a bunch of clones. I got 8 clones, and I grew them all in 2s in a closet, and I had a little reducer off of that hood to like a 4-inch exhaust, and I had it in my bedroom, so I didn't need an air conditioner, because I had an air conditioner in my room. So that the room with that exhaust fan kept it pretty low, like 73. Never really had any problems with humidity either. Thank God. For some reason, I never had a dehumidifier the first year. And my very first grow, I had 8 plants in 2-gallon pots, and I got 22 ounces off my very first grow off of a 600 watt bulb. And to this day, I don't really know how I got such good numbers. I think it's just because I was like so into it, and I was, I'd been a weed nerd my whole life, and I had grown weed a couple different times outdoors, and I'd had another closet grow, but it wasn't like this time. This time I was determined. This time I was serious, and I'd paid real close attention to the advice I'd gotten. And I mean, the weed was, like the kind of, I didn't want to even, I wanted to just keep it all for myself. It was really good pot. And it's just been real. I mean, a lot of people that, know me, and they were all almost in unbelief that it was my first grow. That I mean, I don't know if I was just a natural, like my grandma. She had so many flower gardens and just was a huge gardener her whole life. Grew up in Seattle had flower gardens, and in Missouri they were doing big farms, and she was a farmer her whole life. My dad's mom, and I don't know if it's something I inherited. I don't know if I just got lucky. I don't know what it is. I've always done really well, man. I just have, and I'm thankful for that, whatever the reason is. How about you? How was your first grow?
Don't feel guilty about being born with a.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty about having a green thumb.
Yeah. It is frustrating.
I did well,
for other
man.
Growers. You did well your first grow. Nice, right on. You probably have a green thumb too,
I like to think so. I don't know how.
Right.
I don't know how, because I wasn't really raised around a garden or nothing like that. It was just...
Lost you there. Can't hear you no more. Oh yeah, you're muted. You're muted again.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know how. I must have hit that mute button when I swung over here to the keyboard. Yeah, I've always had pretty decent luck, man. I don't know how, but just must have been born with a green thumb, like you said. I actually grew up in the city, so I didn't actually grow and be around a garden much growing up. And other than growing up, moving out of the house, having a couple of kids, and starting a garden briefly before starting to grow cannabis. Yeah, little to no experience, and that first vegetable garden wasn't shit. So I don't know. Like you said, it must have just been because I was in there, just paying so much attention to it, being that bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, first rounder that made it all so good the first time.
Well, you said 20 years. You're 48, so roughly around 28.
Yeah.
28. Yeah, 28. You're a mature. You're a lot more mature than. I was probably right around there, maybe even a little older. When I first started really being seriously growing, I was right around 30, and like you said, it is a green thumb. I mean, you if you've got one, it, but it is just. I've said this about cheap home grow. The best growers I know are the hardest working growers. You gotta, when it's time to do something in your room, you need to do it. And whether that's transplanting, whether that's going to the store and buying dirt, whether that's going to the store and buying fertilizer, whether that's taking clones. I mean, there's a lot that you need to do to have a perpetual grow. Especially if you're a caregiver for other people and you're growing, a decent amount of plants. I mean, it's, there's trim gel. I mean, there's just so many things that go into it. I mean, I don't know about, how the environment is in Michigan, but like here, I have 3 dehumidifiers I have going, and I have to empty them, twice a day, and that right there. I mean, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but I mean, every single morning, no matter what, Christmas, my birthday, my anniversary, it don't matter. You got to empty those dehumidifiers. You've got to water those plants when the lights come on. I mean, it's just, and you get used to it. It's just like, it becomes like brushing your teeth. It becomes like just a part of your life, and like I said, I look forward to it. I got a big speaker in my room, and I got my phone linked to it, and I listen to podcasts, different podcasts when I'm out there. I'm a big, football guy, so I'll listen to my fantasy football, or if Joe Rogan has something good on, or, one of these guys that I listen to, and I'll just get out there and I'll get in the zone and I start getting stuff done. And, it's you're your own boss out there. And also it's such a cool feeling knowing that you did that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the one that made this happen the way it did. And for better or for worse, I mean, if you've grown weed for 20 years, I'm sure you've had problems. I mean, anybody who's grown for any amount of time has most likely ran into some type of pest or mold or bud rot or, you name it. I've had it. I've had all kinds of problems. I've left the door open on accident and had my whole freaking room harm. And I mean, I've had all kinds of shit happen, and you got to be resilient,
So just leaving your door open, you've had how many times have that happened in it, sir? Because I do it all the fucking time.
Dude,
I never really had ill results.
Wow. Yeah. No. So I'm real. Do you have like any type of like light leakage? Are you growing autos? Are you growing photo periods or?
Photo periods.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, my photo periods are super light sensitive. And then, I grow a lot of strains that are, I mean, I'm surprised you haven't had any herm. You're a lucky man there. I'm jealous. Yeah, man, I went to Vegas one time, and my father-in-law, rest in peace. He was just my wife's husband, was a bad man, and he was just. You don't know what you got till he's gone, man. He was one of the only people I trusted in my room. He lived with me for 9 years. He was my roommate. He was my father-in-law. He was one of my best friends, and I don't know if he did it or if I did it when I was going to Vegas. But all I know is that one of those days that door got left open. And I had that's the thing. You have to have a certain plant in your room. It was the perfect storm. So I had this, I had one time, it had to happen twice, but once way worse. And once was an Obama strain I had. And the weed was really good, but it would always throw a few bananas, So it always had that kind of just a little bit of a hermy tendency, And when it left that light on, I mean, you could see where, down the sides of it, it just pollinated, and there would just be groups of seeds, and it just seeded the whole room out. 5,000 watt lights, probably about 6.5 pounds. And that was, and it happened not that long ago. It was probably about, 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe 3 years, 3.5, something like that. And I live in Washington State, and at the time, it was like, it couldn't have happened to me at a worse time, because the way the market was, the way that the environment around here was at the time. At the time, you could get really good weed for cheap in these stores, and so I was already treading water. I was already fighting every angle. So when the rec stores first opened up, they were selling weed for $30 a gram, but then it got to where their prices were really cheap. They were really screwing the growers over, and pretty much, I don't know what it is, the growers have really been pushing back the last couple of years around here, and it's been coming back up. But it really, since this coronavirus, has it really, the growers are just, they're like, screw it, and they're really pushing back, which is, I'm really proud of everyone around here for doing that. But it just happened at such a bad time that, it was one of those make it or break it moments, where I got real lucky, and, I had someone come over with a Sasquatch press, and we pressed some, and, we made some stuff out of it, and we did a few different things, but, it was, the thing about it though, is it was still really good weed. You know what I mean? It was still really good pot, and it did okay. A lot of my, my patients were, they rolled with it, and we made it work. But I had that happen with that strain, and then I had it happen less with you know what? It was the Obama strain once, and then the other time it happened, it was Zookie's. And Zookie's plant was a good plant too. I know the Zookie's is cookies based, and I know that a lot. Kyle will tell you this, that most cookie stuff has that hermy tendency, and I firmly believe that. Now I have a platinum cut that's pretty stable that I love to death, but that Zookie's plant also kind of, that kind of screwed me once too. But, other than that, and then I got a strain from a guy one time, and it had spider mites, and now I'm at the point now where I won't even really take a cut from someone, man. It's just, I fought those spider mites, and I don't know if you've ever had experience with those, but whew, that's a big battle right there.
Yeah, I definitely battled those one time, and they were dropped off, hand delivered by a fucking buddy.
Yeah, that's how it happened to me too.
That's no word of a lie. They were hand delivered in a bag by a buddy of mine that was nice enough to ask me if I could wash his flower that he had to take down for one reason or another, but didn't say it was because of spider mites. So he brings me over a bag of just buggy doll flour and didn't say anything. Brown paper bag. And at the time, my grow was in an upstairs attic space, and I had my wood shop downstairs, and which is my trade by a carpenter, pretty skilled carpenter, I like to think. But I was building a mantle bookshelf case for a client who was actually the head of the medical, what was it, medical enforcement for fraud here in Michigan. And so she was coming over and to take a look at, she was actually bringing me paint for this damn unit. As much as I tried to tell her that I hated to paint my wood projects, that's what she wanted. And I told her she actually had to drive all the way from Lansing to Owasso to bring me the paint because I refused to come get it because I didn't like to paint my projects. And I thought it would deter, by the way. I'm like, well, if you want it painted, you can paint it when it's in place or bring me the paint. I'll bring the paint. All right. So I had to clean up the shop. Had that bag of fucking shit sitting there. And so I take it upstairs and open up the flower door and I fucking throw the bag right in there next to the filter. Shut the door and they go down there. And she comes by and fucking we do our thing, and that bag sat up there for probably that day. And then I pull it out of there and day goes by, and the next thing I know that everything around that little area there by the filter was friggin' infested. I open up that bag and look in it and ask him, see what's going on, give him a call. It was really nice of you to include the reason why you brought all this material over was spider mites and shit, and yeah, and that, it was a long time before I talked to that buddy again, and a nice battle, first lesson in spider mites, and yeah, it wasn't a fun one. It wasn't a fun one. Luckily, it didn't overtake the whole room at that portion, just about a quarter of it, but a lesson that I wasn't ready to learn up until that point, but nonetheless, a lesson learned.
What'd you do to get rid of it?
Ladybugs and liquid ladybug at the time, which I'm not proud to say. I actually fucking sprayed the plants down. I got rid of the infected ones that were in the area, and then everything that were close to that area got the liquid ladybugs, and everything further back just got the ladybugs on top of that. It seemed to get everything in check. Lots and lots of ladybugs, man. I hate them things. I was swimming in them things there for 2 months. 2 months easy. Just once a week throwing 5,000 in there just to be safe. But yeah,
damn,
that's how I went about getting rid of it.
Nice. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, man. I've got a lot of different little tricks I've used. I mean, I know buddies who work in the rec market and big growers and stuff. Legal and other ways. I've known growers my whole life, and I know guys that have done different things, but I used when I was younger, I used everything. I'd use neem oil, I'd use Azamax, I'd use liquid ladybug. I'd spray something every 3 days, only in veg though. I never would spray in flower. And if it was in my flower room, I would just, live with it and try and maybe like put some liquid ladybug or something on a washcloth and wipe the leaves down. And then, like you said, you just gotta pretty much start over, bleach wash that room, and then move on. Now I know different tricks like, the amazing Dr. Zymes, stuff like that. And also, I tell people this too. If you got a strain that you can't, give up, like I do have a few, and you get something, your best option is to try and get the cleanest stuff you can off of it and dip it in the amazing Zymes, the whole clone, and then just pretend you have it the whole time, and I've had to do this twice since then. So I'll just pretend I have it the whole time, and I'll just treat that plant in veg every 3 days with something. And then I'll just trim that skirt up so I have less surface matter to cover. And then eventually I'll take clones off it again. I'll throw that other plant away, dip it in the amazing Zymes, and then I'll just go back to my regimen of spraying the Dr. Zymes in the veg once a week. And never really, that's what I tell everybody, to get your, your parts per million down. If you had to use something like Azamax or neem oil, or I've used lots of different things over the years, but I would never spray in my flower room. No way. I mean, and I know people that have, but I haven't never done that. So yeah, spider mites are a bitch.
Yeah, I agree. You should never be spraying anything in your flower.
What about PM?
Well, at that time I did. It was still early in flower then. 4.
Hey, every grower's done something they regret. Every grower's made a mistake, fucking probably multiple times. Hell, I'll probably do something I regret again. I'll probably make more mistakes. It's
well, back then it was more not necessarily knowing to dive into more what it says on the label there, and just believing, oh yeah, good to this day of harvest.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I know. It's funny because when guys tell me they have a problem with the a pest, that's the first thing I say is, well, if you got it in your flower room, you're just gonna have to live with it until you're done and then start over. Oh no, it says you can spray in there till the day of flower. I say it. I'm like, right on, man. They're not smoking it. You know what I mean? You're the one's got to smoke that shit. So I don't think I'd buy that. Oh yeah. Yeah, what kind of strains you got going on?
I heard you mention PM there.
Yeah. No, have you ever had to fight that?
Yeah, I'm asking you though.
Oh, fuck
I beat
yes,
you to it.
Oh, fuck yes, I fought powdery mildew. The white devil. I fought powdery mildew. I think powdery mildew was harder to deal with than spider mites, really.
Yes, for sure.
That's the only one that, like, I had this
it's a
just
fucking total tear down.
Oh yeah, no, I lost.
Fighting.
No, I lost some real serious good cuts because of that. I started over again, legit. I lost a amazing Hawaiian haze plant. Maybe after the show's over, you say something, and I'll give you my personal Instagram page, and it's got all my stuff from the beginning. I just started my Noahtheegrowa Instagram page like a year and a half ago because for the show, Shane from the Cheap Homegrown Show, I met him in a Discord room, and he was saying he had a show, and he brought me on, and I pretty much started my Instagram right around that time to show my plants and stuff like that. But I also have one from back in the day where I got my old school Hawaiian haze. I mean, buds the size of my arm, killer weed, and I had to just walk away from it. And man, that hurt. That hurt walking away from that strain because of powdery mildew. Yep. Tough deal.
Yeah, cutting them once and losing strings like that always sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Always
sure.
sucks. That's for sure. And them, for some reason, them are the ones you always have an emotional attachment with because they went on terms you weren't ready to give them up. You know what I mean? When you lose a strain and you kind of just axed it out, it's like, eh. But when you lose them and you fucking didn't mean to lose them, it was the best one.
Always.
The one you wish you would have kept.
What are you growing right now?
Oh man, I've got an army of shit over here. Army of shit. I've got the smash, let's see, the garlic smash, which I tested for Med Grower 1, or the garlic punch, the smash cake. I've got orange boss. I've got my beautiful loser. I've got dominatrix. I've got the primal punch F2. I've got Godiva going from the American one. I've got Jack's J1 that he sent me. The first clone that I took in at least 10 years, I took in from Jack Greenstock. And I've got his Velvet Punch going. Manja Delight. Shit. I've got too much stuff going, actually. I've got Jack the Ripper floating around here. I just dropped Barbecue Gorilla version 2. I'm working with Mr. Tight, testing his strains as well. And I've got Sangria, Agent Orange, Jelly Bean going. And, shit, that's right off the top of my head. I should have a list going, but I wasn't necessarily prepared to be put on the spot on what was in the garden. I guess I should keep that shit in. But yeah, there's a ton of shit floating around here.
That sounds legit. I wish you were in my area. I'd be hitting you up.
The hashishin, and there's just as I remembered that there was two other ones I remembered got there. Damn. A Twisted TK, and there's about 3 other ones. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
When I was sitting here trying to.
No, you're fine. So you start plants from seed and put it right in your stable with all your other stable stuff, huh?
A lot of times, yeah. I keep. What I actually keeping anymore is really being weaned down. I've got so much to go through, and I'm still doing a lot of testing for a lot of breeders. So what I actually keep, it has to lay me back. In fact, I just cleaned the board of 15 strains a few months back. Just kind of made room for new.
Wow.
Kenyo's Lights and was another one on that. I should have just had the list. I'm gonna make it a point to fucking make me a list and keep it handy. Because I'm quite guilty. Other than for test strains, I don't write a whole lot of shit down. I just fucking know what's going on with my plants. I don't need necessarily, I'm on fucking day 58. Just unless it's a test strain, I give 2 shits.
Yeah, I take a piece of masking tape and I do my dates. That's the only thing I write down. I write on the side of the pot. I'll put, this is my flower date, and then I'll put, I put the day I clone from, and that one I just do that for just my personal, just I like to see, how long I vegged for, because I just, when the plant looks big enough, I do everything by feel too, man. I don't got no feeding charts. I don't do nothing like that. I do everything just by hand and just by feel. And, I'm old school like that too. So I don't blame you one bit, but I do like to know the flower date. I do like to know that. I just put a little piece of masking tape on the side. You're growing in like soil or dirt or super soil or
Coco.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys that love that. I know a lot of guys that like that. So
it's a chunky cocoa too.
Yeah,
that's why I never really talk. I've been doing this so long and so fucking maverick. Half the shit that I do doesn't make sense to everybody else. And I don't even give two shits to explain it half the time. I just
I
know
don't
it
blame
works
you.
for me, and
100%. I know
but
people.
no, it's a chunky cocoa. I mean, this shit's fucking. If you could see this, it actually. Oh, there's the camera. It's almost like wood chips. It's so airy.
Nice.
But yeah, I love this.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, you and as you shouldn't. That's a funny thing. It's funny. You probably. I tell this to everybody. You probably couldn't come into my grow room and grow as good a weed as I can. I couldn't go into your grow room in your environment with your strains. You know what you're doing in your grow room if you've done it for a long time. If you're a beginner grower, yeah, you should be writing everything down.
No, in fact, it was. I've done this several times on the air, and I fucking love to do it because, I've got, I'm not afraid to manipulate plants and just fucking bend them over and look. I will tabletop some plants. I will take a 4-footer, make it 2 foot, just tabletop it, bend everything flat as I want it. And I always enjoy doing it live on the air. I did it the other night while I had Brafter Grows and a few other people on, whole panel on. Just took about 2 feet down, just choked this girl out and bend her over. But again, techniques that people don't friggin' do. I mean, we look at these girls behind me. It's hard to get a good running over my cords, but you look at these girls in here, man. They've all been they were all tall girls at one point. You know what I mean? And just bent them right over. That one that I was talking about, I wish I could get in closer because, she's back over there in the corner. Let's see if I can go that way a little bit. That one back right there. This thing right here. That girl right back over there. If I could get in closer to you. That stalk is in such a shred, you wouldn't even believe it. Nobody would actually believe if they could see on it that it's actually even growable. I mean, you can see right through that friggin' stuff. And she's doing just fine. Again, I don't suggest my methods to anybody, but they work for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have a scrog net. And I will I'll take a plant that's already if I put it underneath it, the tops will be in the net. And then I'll take it and I'll lift it up slowly and bend it over into that net. And then I'll push it up with a pot upside down and push it up so that it's just a level, canopy of tops. That's one of the things that I do too. And it's a grower that I know. I went to his grow room and he was doing that, and I tried it out, and that's what I do, And if I grow a big hog, if I grow one in like a 7, and it's like 4 foot tall before I put it in, I won't put it up on that thing. I'll just kind of bend over in there and then spread it out and pull them back, and bend them and tuck them and stuff. But if it's a 3-footer or whatever, I'll push it up in there with that. And that's one of my little tricks I use is the scrog net. And I know people that use a double scrog net. I don't do that. I just use one, but so you have it looks like you have what is that? Like a 4x8 tent right there?
Yeah. 6 girls in it. She's going to be maxed. Them girls behind it are only day 5 in there. Day 5 into that tent.
Nice.
But,
yeah, I'm good.
600 watts. I'm actually going to put one more in there that like a TS1000, Mars Hydro TS1000 in between them two. But yeah,
nice.
Those were a couple of gift lights. They're both 300 watts. I ran them both last time. I did really good for, the 2 lights there for 600 watts. I did good. I did really good. I was happy with what I would. I was actually bummed because I underestimated the lights. I only put, 3 in there, 6 plants. Yeah, but they were smaller. They were smaller than what I had in there because I didn't actually think they would do as good as they did. So I underestimated. But I could have actually if I would have put all the sizes, same size, I could have got away with 8 in there and maxed that 10 out. Pretty good. I would have been happy with it. But yeah, I've got 8 of these tents, all in all. There's rows behind. And that's what I'm saying. There's twice last week because they're on different schedules. I'm on a 10-10. You know what I mean? When the daytime cycle goes off, the nighttime cycle goes on. So some get zipped up, some get opened up at 10 o'clock every time. And there's times where I've opened these up, got distracted, and because of their behind each other, you know what I mean? I forgot about them and, not zipped them up. It's happening, it happens all the time. And me actually getting herms, I get more herms from overfeeding than I do that for getting shut it down. In 20 years, I think at one time leaving that door open, I think I've had one herm, one time, and it was just that one that was right in front of the door. And I think that was only because the room adjacent was a veg room kicking out 1,000 watts right there, so it was bright, intense light that was beating me down on that girl. Other than that, I've had really good fucking luck. And I, again, not saying leave your fucking doors open and, don't worry about it. But, again, I'm way past it. If that door is open, I just leave it open. I don't even bother shutting it. I let it cycle right out and light pop on just like it was, I don't know. Maybe call it luck, call it what you want. But,
Well, hey, I like luck. I love luck, man. I love being lucky when it comes to life and lucky when it comes to, growing and just all of it, man.
So what kind of systems are you currently running over? You said you were going to show us, but you never.
Yeah.
We didn't get lucky enough to see it.
Yeah, no, right now I just told my old lady to go out there and she's got to clear a path because like I said, with my ankle, I got to get wheelchaired out there or crutched out there. But yeah, no, I'm going to go out here and, walk it through. And no, I got right now I got a pretty decent setup, man. I got a 36,000 BTU Ideal Air mini split. I got a 2000 CFM Fantuck exhaust, 12-inch exhaust, and right now I'm currently running 4 Magnum XXL hoods, with 1,000-watt Galaxy ballasts, and my veg room right now, I just got 2 4x8 T5s. I just veg with that, but yeah, no, I got a decent little room, and my room is I can run 8,000 watts, and I have, but right now I'm only running 4, and I typically will put 2 plants, sometimes 3 plants under each light, and yeah, no, I love my room. I put a lot of money in that room, but I got a 4x4 tent that I'm going to set up in part of my garage here this winter, and I think I'm going to do a pheno hunt myself, just because I don't want to introduce anything in my room that isn't stable. I'm a big, herm plants have burned me before, so I don't want to mess with what I got going on out there. I'm rocking and rolling, so. But I got some a few seed packs put up that I want to run some testers, and I got some from some autos from Full Duplex. I got some stuff from Coleman the Grower off Prolific Coast Seeds, some meow that I got off one of his Twitch streams, and I'm gonna get some more stuff too. But I definitely want to do a pheno hunt and do all that. But yeah, I got, like I said, I got Platinum, I got Fruit Punch, I got GG4, I got Overflow, I got Sherbado. Of course, my wife's telling me because I hadn't been able to go out as much because of my ankle last week, but she'd been watering that veg room for me, and that one plant, she didn't give it enough fertilizer to. I guess she said it was kind of yellow. It's like, oh man, that sherbet plant. That's sunset sherbet crossed with do-si does, and that's a real tasty plant right there. It ain't the prettiest plant, it ain't the heaviest yielder, but you know, it's badass for sure. Yeah.
You got anything? What you said you were doing a pheno hunt. Did you say which strain it was going to be?
No, yeah. I'm gonna do a pheno hunt. I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff, but like I said, right now I got some PCS, some prolific close seeds. That's a local breeder around here, grower, and I won some of his meow seeds off of a Twitch stream he did, and then I got some autos from full duplex, and I'm gonna run a couple autos. I haven't decided whether I'm just gonna do them in my bedroom or I'm gonna do that tent just autos once, or I haven't quite decided how I'm gonna do that. I did some autos outside, and I don't know if you've ever grown autos outside, but it's kind of a weird thing, man. They just grow these big buds, kind of short, stocky buds. At least the ones I did. It's pretty cool, pretty fun.
No, I haven't been able to do a lot of growing outside. You know, just a couple of stashes here and there. Nothing I would actually call real grows. More over re-veges, and they just turned out to be, you know, flowering out there. Left them, took my cuts and left them. But no, I've always wanted to step outdoors, but nothing outdoors yet.
Hell yeah.
You get to do a lot of outdoor? You do a lot of outdoor yourself?
No, I don't. Same thing. I've done a couple over the years. Back in the day, you know, me and one of my buddies, we would do like a guerrilla grow. You know, we would just hike out in the middle of nowhere and just, you know, dig a hole and put some dirt in it and put the plants in it. And as a matter of fact, one year I got spider mites about 7 years ago, and I didn't even feel like it. I just took everything, all my veg plants, and put them all out there and outside, and you know, then we made hash out of it. You know, it was a long time ago, but and then I just did these autos the first time. This year I ran a couple of them outside, and yeah, no, it was awesome. You know, it was really a lot of fun and different. You know, it was just a different experience and a different feeling, and yeah, I dig it.
How was the quality?
I mean, it was all right.
Everybody's always quick to scoff on it, but I don't, you know, it is what it is. How was it?
I mean, it was all right. You know, I mean, I it was my first time doing it, and you know, I was just having fun with it and stuff. Yeah, here we go. I'm going live here. I'm wheeling in here. This is my veg room right here. And then here we go.
Guardian 10s on deck. Heck yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. And here we go. Running into stuff.
Looking good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's my air conditioner I was talking about. There's my big ass exhaust fan, my big dehumidifier, one of them. There's some trim I got, just blast drying. I got a couple there's a couple overflows right there. And then there's two right there underneath that hood. Got another little dehumidifier right there. Air filter. This is inside of my room. I've gone live before on the cheap home grow, but I only got 4 on right now. I don't got that one on, or this one over my head, or I can put one right there.
Take a lot of
Yeah.
shit from my fucking old XLs. Man, them are pretty. Real pretty. Sugary.
Yeah, that's a platinum plant right there. There's a punch plant right there. There's some really good do-si-dos right here. Yep. Yeah, that Sherbado plant is a little tucked in. Yeah. Yeah, with this ankle, I haven't been able to.
It's something every grow room should have right there.
Oh, that little Craftsman? Look at that little bit. This little thing. This is my little. Yeah, see, I'm on a scooter right now. There's my leg right there. But yeah, that's just two. That's two right there under one. And then this is three. This is three right here. And that Magnum XXL hood. Yeah, not bad. I mean, I have fun. I have fun with it. And yeah, no, I have a lot of fun and do pretty well, man. I mean, I like I said, I was just kind of surprised when I first started, and I changed stuff. You know, I'm constantly tweaking stuff. I'm constantly trying, you know, this or that. I've never gotten a light or nothing, but I've had a few guys approach me on Instagram and give me some fertilizer and different things, and I've tried that. But yeah, I don't like to mess with it too much, you know, because I've done so well. I've done so well here. I've done really well and had a really good fun time with it, so I don't like to mess with it much. But whew, that was a chore getting back out of there. My brother-in-law came over and built me a ramp, but for my little scooter. Yeah, no, this ankle. I've had a lot of health issues over my life, but they had to completely reconstruct my ankle. And I was real nervous about doing it. And hell, I probably wasn't nervous enough. This thing has been some of the worst pain of my life, man. And then just on top of it, just not being able to do much, you know. I gotta keep it elevated most of the time to relieve the swelling. I mean, they cut my heel and moved it and put 2 screws in and took all the arthritis and put some microfractures to promote healing. And now I got who knows how many months of physical therapy ahead of me, but I'm ready to do it. You know, I'm a tough old guy, and I can do it. So my ankle was hurting me quite a bit, so I'm glad that I get it repaired, you know. But man, yeah, no, 4x8 tent. That's a lot of work. You know, most people will only have like a 4x4 or even a 2x4, and I mean, you can see my grow room is pretty decent size. That's a lot of work, you know, for one guy. You know, a lot of work to, you know, when it's just everything, you know. And I don't really run seeds, so I got a clone too. You know, that's a whole nother element. The cloning part, you know, and making sure you got enough, you know, to put in to fill it up the next run, and making room in your veg room and not overgrowing it so that you're drowning the other ones, you know. I mean, all this stuff, you know, I'm sure you know, you don't want to overdo it. You put too many in there and it takes away from all of them, you know.
Yeah, I try to leave a little space to let them grow into. I don't like to, you know, keep it packed right from the beginning. I tend to grow some pretty good, decent-sized grows, as it looks like you do too. You know.
Yeah, and I this is really most
growers today seem to want to, you know, throw in so many just small plants instead of just giving them a little bit, you know, longer veg time, it seems.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And those plants I got right now are all a little smaller than I normally grow too, to be honest with you, just because I was kind of behind, so I had to just kind of hustle it through, I had to. But
I do it. I do occasionally. Back at 10 if in the threes if I have to catch up a little bit. I can feel you. I can feel you. Sometimes we do what we have to do, that's for sure. Keep things rolling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't been kind of, like I said, I'm kind of behind. Give it a couple months, you'll see some real big ones in there. I've been just so busy preparing for this surgery and doing with all this. It just, my room has been, not, I never take it for granted. I always work it, but it's just, I cut back one light. I'm going to, turn that back on here in the next month or two, but turn one off. Well, I was fighting the heat too this summer for some reason, even though I got the big boy air conditioner, just having 5,000 watts in that room. I was still fighting the heat this summer. And so I turned one off, but I'm definitely going to turn it back on and get rocking and rolling again. I love it, man. I just have a great time, and I dig growing, man. It's so much fun to me, and that's one of the worst parts about this surgery is not being able to be out in my room the last couple of weeks, and I get this cast off and a boot put on here in the next 10 days, 8 days, and I'm excited to not have to go up and down that ramp with that scooter, man. Whew. Yeah. What about you? You guys have to have a dehumidifier, or is your environment dry enough to where most times where you don't have to have one, or how does that work?
I'm usually dry on the dry side around here, so I don't have to run one. I do put damp red buckets in my tents for when I shut them down to help suck up some of the humidity during the nighttime. But moreover, there's another thing I like to do for that too, and it's kind of figured into that nighttime cycle. Is I like to leave the door open on tents for a half hour before I shut them up to let some of that humidity, because that's when you usually get your spike, is when the lights first go off. So I like to leave them open when the light goes off and they're putting out all that humidity, to leave that door open for a half hour before I close it up. And then anything after that, my damp red buckets usually take care of. You know, they're good for like a gallon bucket. They're $10, good for 6 months, and they're actually good. One of the buckets they say is good for a basement or crawl space. So I figured one of them's good for a 4x4, and I don't have the power and the heat from the dehumidifiers. But yeah, I'm pretty much. And as far as environment controls, I don't run air conditioner either. I told you I'm cowboy as shit over here. I live in northern Michigan, and I run LEDs during the day. So LEDs temps like to be, around 80 to 85. And that's in northern Michigan. That's shit. I think it's over 85 here. I'm lucky, it's a rough day. It just doesn't happen that often. And then at night, it drops down to, even in the summertime, 50, 55, sometimes 60 at, worst case. When I'm drawing in that outside air, it's being filtered before it comes in here. So I'm dumping constant in the top of these tents, by the way, cold Michigan air. So at night I'm running the HPS. Actually right now I got the 4K there. I got that's actually 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The hoods, each one's 1,000 there. And then what runs behind me at night, and then veg over here. I guess I can spin you around and show you the veg. You were nice enough to show me your room so I could show you part of mine. So I got the veg over there. Right there is on my veg area. And then under that there light there is like an on deck area. But yeah, so I draw in the nighttime air. I double filter it. And so no dehumidifiers, no air conditioning. Just as cowboy as you can get it.
That's awesome.
It's only like high. It's only hot up here in northern Michigan for like 2 months. July and August. We're at best, like I said, if it's 90 degrees up here, I'm like, it isn't nothing. I just tough it out. Get some extra fans going. Make sure they're fucking moving. Extra B vitamins to handle some of the stress. But I usually do fine. It's my summer product. I'll be the first to admit isn't as good as the winter products and the spring product, but it's a lot cheaper than trying to run air and all that other bullshit. So,
yeah, it is.
It's a crazy system, but it works. I actually heat my house with this thing. This room right here heats my house all winter long.
Oh yeah.
All this light goes right into the house. Yeah. Summer months it goes out the roof. All that hot air goes out the roof. Winter months I flip that big old 12-inch around and it pushes underneath the house, and then it's insulated all the way from where it comes out here under the house. It's insulated through an 8-inch pipe, and then it hits right into my heater, the cold air return right before it enters the heater. And I don't even run the heater. I just turn that motor on, and it grabs that warm air and shoves it out through the registers of my house. And I actually just light a fire. I've got a wood stove. I light a fire when necessarily, but I heat this northern Michigan house on average with 4 cords throughout the whole winter. So right around $300 to heat my house out of pocket with my utilizing my grow.
That's awesome. And wow, what a great deal on wood you get in there. Wood is much more expensive around here. I have a badass insert and a fireplace, and because my electricity bill is so high, I heat my house with about 3 cords. So I tell everybody, hey man, you're cold around here, it's time to make a fire. Yeah, no, I don't do that either. I don't do the heat around here. My electric bill is already pretty decently high, but I do okay. I do okay. And what temperature do you rock in the summertime then? You just get in the 80s and the 85s and stuff?
Oh, it gets right around 80, 85, yeah. Whatever it is outdoors, because I am pulling in outdoor air to cool and just, get fresh air into the room. So, yeah. And like I said, during the daytimes, it's the LEDs. So they like them temperatures anyway. All the air's being, sucked out of the tent. You can see behind me there, there's one right there. That one's dumping in cooler air into the tent. And then right behind that middle section, of course, you can't see. There's one sucking out hot air out of the other side. So it's a little bit of airflow in each tent. Same thing with these tents over there. There's air being sucked through the whole light there, through that whole 4K, and then there's cool air being dumped you can see the pipe on top there. There's cool air being dumped into the top of them tents through that pipe there, and then they're all connected with cool air being blown through the bottom as well.
Oh, yeah.
So no shortage of air movement.
What's your humidity at?
Currently, let me see here. Currently, it's 47, and it is 77 degrees in here right now.
That's beautiful humidity,
my,
47.
CO2 at eye level is 777. Angel number 777 is what I've got CO2 at eye level over there in veg.
Yeah, I got a CO2 setup, but I actually haven't used it in quite a few years, and
Oh
I was
no,
thinking,
no, that's just that's ambient. I'm not putting CO2 in the room. That's ambient.
okay, interesting. Yeah, no, I used to pump CO2, but it's you got to really have that dialed in, and you kind of almost need a closed loop system, and you got to know what your parts per million and just your ppm, all that stuff, and it's just I got tired of it. I probably should, I mean, if you're
Oh, you're
fighting the
doing
heat.
fucking amazing without it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know. I'm afraid to rock the boat sometimes too. Like I'll tweak a thing or two here or there, but I don't change a whole lot. So we've been pretty lucky. I mean, and your room looks like it's rocking and rolling too, man. I mean, don't if it works for you, hell no, you don't need anything else extra. And the electric bill, man. Whew. I mean,
I don't even want
it's
to talk about the electric bill.
believe me, I know.
It's worse
Mine,
out there for you guys than the West Coast. So, man, I hear you guys, oof, you guys get nailed over there for electricity.
500. That's what I pay a month.
I'm way over that. But I hear your guys' kilowatts hours like ridiculous, isn't it? Like 40 cents or some shit like that.
What's funny is I know, but I forgot, and because I don't want to know. But yeah, no, it is. It's ridiculous around here. It is, and I do love it. But I went to I've been to Hawaii a few times, and man, I'll tell you right now, when I went to Maui, if the first time, if I didn't have kids, I went to come back, I would have just shipped my stuff over. It is so phenomenal over there, and I don't know if you've been, but if you haven't, make it a point to, and make sure you get to go see Maui, man. It is, it's funny is you don't hear, you hear people talk about, yeah, Hawaii's cool, man. It's better than people say, and I know it's humid over there, but I mean, they have a really good medical marijuana scene over there too. They got it medically legal, so you can get involved in that, and you don't got to worry about the whole rec end. I mean, it's a real last frontier type of deal out there, man. I would love to go out there and start something, and one of these days I might. I love it. I've been to Kauai, I've been to Oahu, I've been to Maui 3 times now, and I love it. And yeah, growing there would be just super chill. I actually have a buddy of mine who's getting ready to move to God, I can't remember the name of the island. It's the Big Island though, and it's pretty cheap. Property's pretty cheap there. It's just there's just not a lot of work, But we got that big volcano. But he's talking about moving out there, and he grows, and he's talking about getting it started. And I told him I might come out there and stay with him for a couple weeks and check it out. And yeah, I know it would be a lot of fun to see what you could do, and you'd want to get some stuff that was powdery mildew resistant and mold resistant and stuff. And I just wonder how it would grow out there, because it's pretty humid.
I think in a couple of cycles it would adapt.
Yep, that's what I think too. Yeah. And it'd be fun.
Actually,
man.
Rascal Farmers is up here in northern Michigan's kind of working on a strain that he's his nom nom. He's trying to introduce to the outdoors there. It's been indoors and it doesn't do well from outdoors. It's not one of his better producing strains, but he's been bringing it in and out, trying to make it more indigenous to his area. So what the thought behind it is, with every bring in, it's grown in that soil. So it's kind of getting adapted to that climate, and taking in some of the microbes, and then what it takes on, from its surroundings on the plant itself, you know, just being out in the environment per season, and then taking it indoors and then bringing it back out, that he's slowly acclimating it for the climate. And he says that every year, because he's taking that cuttings of it while it's outside before flowering and bringing it back in. He said it's every year it's getting better and better outdoors. So I think sometimes if it's worthy enough, you just have to tough it out and work with it a couple of runs to get it acclimated to your climate.
Yeah, for sure. It gets pretty cold there in Michigan, huh? I was born in Alaska. I lived there till I was almost 13, so I know about cold, but I know Michigan's supposed to be pretty cold.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. It definitely gets cold up here, man. It's fixing to snow here probably about a week, and once it snows, I may not see the ground until May.
Damn. That's something.
That's no word of a lie. That's no word of a lie right there. There's times I have not seen uh, the ground until, there's been times I haven't seen the ground until April. And then there's been, and that I remember that winter, man, when actually the patio, the concrete out back, actually I could see some cement out there. I was like just stoked. I remember that day. I was like, concrete, hell yeah, springs are coming. Yeah. Well, as far as that goes, you say travel, man. I have not fucking taken a vacation since I took it on this plan. I don't
hard.
leave the grow. I'm not far from the grow at any time. Even when the closest thing I get to a vacation are events around the state, and even then, I'm headed home. I've never stayed. If it's a multiple day event, even if it's down in Detroit, a 3.5 hour drive for me, 7 hours round trip. I still make that fucking drive, go home, take care of shit, and fucking drive 3.5 hours back, the next day. It's just what gets done. Yeah, I don't even know what a vacation is anymore at this point.
No, I know what you mean. I haven't gone on one in a long time because my father-in-law passed away, and we were, he was the only person that I trusted with it. He was a badass, and he knew what he was doing. But yeah, it's a tough deal, leaving your grow. Excuse me. Yeah, because other people don't really know what the heck they're doing. They don't know. Oh man, that plant right there, I'm only giving it half strength fertilizer. You know what I mean? This one right here, I'm giving it full strength. This one, I'm giving it a little bit of, CalMag or whatever, because it's, it needs it. This one right here, I'm just letting they don't know. I'm flushing here. I'm doing this. They don't know what's going on. So you really do, you gotta be the one in there making the decisions and, living and dying with your decisions, man. It is a difficult vacation. Is a tough sell. I'll say that.
Oh, for me, I'm terrible too because I'll be the first to admit, man, life's a great teacher. Some lessons we don't learn until later on, and then we really appreciate the value in the lesson. And up until 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I was a believer, and I wouldn't teach anybody shit. I've owned my own construction business, and even unfortunately with kids, I've it's quicker for me to do it. You know what I mean? So the whole aspect of passing on knowledge, even to like bringing in a friend, into the grow and try to show them something so I could take that vacation. Nah, wasn't happening. So it hasn't been until the last few years that I've realized that I was stupid, you know, you don't get anything by holding in knowledge. You're only hurting yourself and other people around you. That's for real. This is fucking for real. This is something I've come across the last couple of years because I seen firsthand. That was the biggest revelation was seeing my girls not being able to do uh, some stuff that they should know how to do firsthand. Things that I am incredibly talented and would have took a few minutes to show them over the years. Changing tires, shit like that. And that's lots of stuff that I could have showed them, but instead it was just quicker for me for Dad to step in, be the hero, and do everything. And then as they got older, and then I'm still doing it. Years later, I'm thinking, shit, I should have shared. I should have shared. I should have taught. And then I realized the mistake in what I was doing, that I had actually held them back, by not showing them. I should have showed them and made them more suspicious, more suspicious. Damn this dude. Sufficient on their own instead of being so dependent on me. And that's my attitude these days, man. Everything that I know, I try to, teach if anybody asks. And, moreover, now the kids hate it because now when I do something, I'm pulling them aside and, I've realized, you know what I mean? Now they're like, what? But, people should learn from what you got to offer and be able to take that knowledge and take it to the next step to make make everything better for the next people. Teach everybody. And that's another thing that I've thought is great about this community is the knowledge that from when I started doing this till now, people that are starting off these days have it amazingly better than we did 20 years ago. The days of not sharing information and having no information out there, man, them days are gone, man. These cats that are growing now, putting these plants in now, are leapfrogging us. And I'm not even I don't have that problem to say just because I don't use a lot of the stuff that's going out there, man. I don't mean I don't admire what a lot of these cats are doing. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you grow in cocoa. That's kind of a new age kind of thing, I mean, I know guys that do it, and I've never really done it. I mean, I've always just been so scared to change stuff up, like that. And I do change stuff, but something that major, So I'm assuming you didn't grow in cocoa the whole time. Why did you switch from soil to cocoa?
This is supposed to be about you, but I've told this story. This is supposed to be your interview, man. They hear this shit from me all the damn time. But I'll tell you, it was because of that grow. I've been back and forth. I've been in every type of medium except an actual hydroponic system. I've never run hydroponics. But the types of medium, man, I ran the gauntlet. And I did start in actually just out of the backyard soil. And then actually started buying stuff from the Home Depot, raised beds, kind of dirt. And that's what the first round was in. Nice, some raised beds soil that I had snagged from the gardening center there. And it was all upstairs. Like I said, it was all in an attic space that a nice 1212 A-frame on the inside. I've got pictures, tons and tons of pictures, but was in there. So as I started out with my 24 plants up there, I could see the fucking weight. I ended up, before it was all said and done and I left that grow, I ended up putting a beam in there to support that thing, and it ended up getting way out of control on it. But it was the weight, flat out, man. I could see the bow in the trusses, and I knew that, like every grower, a few more. Actually, I got legal and then started taking on. I got real cocky once I started getting legal and taking on patients. I packed that fucking attic. I ain't even afraid to admit that shit, man. And so, and in them, I was running the 3.5 AirPods back then, and fucking you fucking just things were too heavy, just too fucking heavy, and I had to look for other mediums. So I went to Pro Mix, Sunshine #4, and I ended up settling on Coco and liking Coco. And I ran in cocoa for years and years. And then when I actually moved back up here and was on ground again, I did revert back to the super soil mix there and was quite happy in it for a while. And I actually, because I had come up here, I'd laxed on a fucking couple of patients, excuse my mouth. And so I was running fine in my super soil. Then I got cocky again and took on a couple more patients and got into the hot soil there and had just a bad run. You know, everything just flocked right up from being in the hot super soil. And I reverted back to the cocoa. I didn't have the time, the 2 months to let that shit cook. And I was already behind. So I reverted back to what I knew, the chunky cocoa. Well, it wasn't chunky then. It was just cocoa, but as I discovered the chunky cocoa, I love the chunky cocoa, by the way. I love the chunky cocoa. But I reverted back to the cocoa and just haven't looked back. Once you get behind, and the system that's another thing too. Now with the system that I run, the perpetual that I run, it's just too hard to keep up. It's just too hard to keep up. Smiley's Gardens. I've got a couple earth boxes right here, trying to talk me into the organics. I appreciate the organics. Killer flowers grown in the organics. For my perpetual, my 72 plants that I have here, or capable of running, it's hard. You want them girls to veg up in them bigger pots and then flip them in the same pot. Uh, to have that space to utilize a perpetual and 10 gallons that are sitting there vegging, it ain't happening not in these tents. Cocoa works great for that. Cocoa works great for that. So that's why I stick mainly through my cocoa.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, not to ask too many questions there, but yeah, you can go ahead, ask any question you want of me, man. No, I love it. I love growing, man, so much. And I know what you mean. It's kind of a weird thing when it comes to, telling other buddy what you do. I tell most people everything that I do. I keep a few things near and close to my heart, but hell, like, I mean, especially, I haven't quite ran 74. I've done 60 for, a couple of years straight. I did 60 plants, and these were big plants, fives, and, I grow in dirt, and I amend it myself with a couple different things, but I grow on concrete, so I don't got to worry about nothing bending or nothing. But yeah, no, I know how much work, and I get it. It's the same thing with me. Everybody always is telling me to go to Super Soul, and I've never even tried it because, for one, not to sound too cocky, but most of the time we're either very comparable or I might even be ahead when it comes to quality. So I'm not going to mess with that. I'm not going to rock the boat, but it's the work. And then I've heard so many horror stories of people getting it too hot. I mean, every guy I know that grows a super soil, just about, except for Brandon Russ, all these guys, they always have a story about it. And when it's, when you I grow in Fox Farm Ocean Forest dirt, and I can control it. I know how to fix it. I know what I'm looking at. I've used that medium for so long, like you say, and I've used Happy Frog and Sunshine #4 and Pro Mix, and I've, Black Gold from Fred Meyer's. I've used all kinds of stuff too, but I always just go back to what I know because I know it, and I can amend it, and I can quickly, I know that's the thing that it would, if anything, I would try cocoa because I like how quick you can, what from what I've heard, you can, make up mistakes and change, stuff if you're lacking in different things. And, whereas in super soil, you're just kind of stuck with it, so.
Yeah, you're stuck with it, trying to, get things to a common point. Top dress, top dress, worm castings right off the bat when you freeze up on the super soil. Yeah, and, I don't miss it. I've actually had this system ever since 2008. I went heavy. I took on as many patients as I could take on in 2008. I haven't looked back. That's to be real honest with you. So I'm kind of really used to flipping around these girls, but again back to the not talking thing, and I've kind of noticed that to bite me on the ass as of late too, because I don't like to talk, especially with this. I've been testing a seed tester for 12 years for Subcool and a lot of other breeders, in the last 12 years. And again, like I've said, never really talked about, done a lot of, this is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm doing it. Just pictures, whatnot. So never really talked about it. And then I started on the Michigan Bros Grow Show about a year and a half ago, whatever. Started talking a little bit, and then I started this adventure. With it being a nightly thing, I decided right off the get that, because I was spotlighting other people, that I would find. I thought to myself it would be boring if I talked about myself and what I did every night. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think just people would tune out of that shit right quick. So I stopped. I didn't even mention. I still very seldom talk about what I've got going on over here, because But then again, I noticed after a point that I started getting like a shopkeep or the barkeep kind of. This guy don't know shit. Just fucking brings people on. I've kind of gotten a little like with it lately.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's the lesson the other thing that I've learned about not talking and spreading knowledge. Kind of bit me in the ass.
I feel the same way on the Cheap Home Grow show because there's some real ninjas over there, man. And I mean, as you know, if you're a grower and you know your stuff, it don't take me very long until I can tell whether or not you know. I mean, there's been times where I've talked to growers and I can tell that they think they know what they're doing, but they don't. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh no, you don't really know what you're talking about, do you? And I don't get that drift from these guys over here, and the Michigan Bros Grow Show, I've tuned into that, and I've also had, Sequence. He was on the show there for a while. Of course, Spartan, who is that's a ninja right there. And then a Skillbo One, he was on when I first started coming on. So those are all guys that know their stuff, I mean, and it's almost humbling sometimes, it's like, because like, I'll get in my circle, I'll be like, I'm the guy that everyone's talking to. And then I get on the show with all these guys and I'm like, oh, wow, these guys know their stuff too. I better pay attention, when when I do go on the show, I mean, I'm focused, I'm listening, I'm ready to talk, but sometimes I'm so involved in listening to what they're saying. I got, oh shoot, I gotta, like you said, I don't want to be like the guy who don't know what he's doing, like, oh, why is he on the show? I don't want to be that guy. So, you definitely got to throw a few things out there here and there. And I've been pretty selective over my time there. And I do know what you're saying though. It's a weird line, and I don't blame you one bit for, that's how I was brought up. You know, the people that I knew, it was, you know, when I first started going 10, 11 years ago, it was don't ask, don't tell. And you don't talk about it. You know, you shut your mouth. That's how you know what I mean? That's how you don't get in trouble, you know, and guys didn't want you talking about what they were doing, you know? And just like you said, it's nowadays, Instagram and all these places, the YouTube videos and stuff, we didn't have nothing like that. I mean, I got to borrow a copy of Jorge Cervantes, you know, the Marijuana Bible. And I was, you know, tickled pink that I got that thing, you know. I mean, I was studying that thing and reading, and, you know, these guys got all kinds of up-to-date stuff and better equipment and, you know, better nutrients and better strains and all kinds of advantages.
Even in the forums that we're checking into back then, it was, you know, scary then. For one, we didn't we didn't show our faces back then, maybe some plans, and then you were still leery of, you know, everybody in there until you got to know everybody. And the same thing, once you got to know everybody and you seen that new name pop in, everybody was like terrified until they, you know, got a little back and forth with you and seen some plants and shit, you know. It was a different era starting out back then, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world, though. You know, I mean, it was a great time to be alive, and it was a real good time to be a grower. Hell, that's the thing. If I could just go back in time, I mean, I'd want to just start growing right away. You know, start growing right away. You know, cut my teeth along the way. Figure out how to get rid of all, you know, how to fight spider mites and figure out how to do this. And just like you said, don't take clones from people and just, you know, all that. Learn all that real quick, you know, when you're young. Younger the better, you know. I mean, and I can't remember who I was talking to the day. One of my buddies, and he's growing, and, you know, he follows my Instagram page, and, you know, I tell him all the time, yeah, I'm learning new stuff all the time. And he's like, dude, you know, I just consider myself an okay grower. And he's like, oh, man, if you're an okay grower, then what am I? I go, you're growing. There's a lot of people out there that aren't growing, you know, and I firmly believe that this is just my opinion. I don't think it's like riding a bike. I think you got to be living it. I think you got to be in the trenches. I think you got to be living and dying with those decisions. I mean, obviously, if I had quit growing for a couple of years and I started back up, I'm sure I'd be okay. But I don't think I'd be as good as I am right now, you know, because you're on it. You're listening to the plants. You know what I mean? You're fine tuning your environment. You're leaving your tent door open. You know all these tricks because you got to. You got to learn it. You got to adapt. You know.
Buddy, when I came up here with fucking my whole grow. It was the last thing that I moved. It was the last thing that was moved from that last house. And it sat out here for fucking 2 days in the dark in that tent. 72 plants in that trailer with most of the grow equipment in the front of that trailer and plants in the back. And they came up, set them in here, set up a light in that veg, and started the system over. I came up here fully loaded, sweating bullets. I moved that whole 72, they're all in veg. I finished out that flower, and I had, well, there was 3 gallons. Good sized gals, ready to be moved and start over. But yeah, all 72, Ryan, 200 miles north on that last trip. Just sweating bullets. Just Let's move the whole grow up here. And yeah. It's never shut down. There was a brief period up here, I think there's 2 months where I didn't have any flower and I was kind of relying on, you know, roaches and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. I can't imagine I really can't imagine life any other way nowadays.
You know? No, I know what you mean. When I bought my house, it was the same thing. you know. So when I bought my house, I started off with that closet, and then the closet was my flower room, and I had a little Econo Wing at a 400 watt, and I had it set up in my master bathroom in the shower, and I vegged in the shower, and I had my cloner on the bathroom counter, and there was my cloner, and I had a little light on top of it, and then I had my veg over here, and that was my perpetual. And then I built a little 5x10 room in my garage, and I put 2,000 watt lights in it, had an 8-inch exhaust fan, and a little teeny dehumidifier, and I put all these boxes on the outside of it, and put like clothes and this and that, and stacked empty boxes, but taped them up all on top of each other, and then literally you would reach inside those boxes and open the door to the room. I had so many people that would be in that room, in that garage, and they had no idea I was growing in it. But you know, I did all that, and you did that for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then I bought my house. And when I bought my house, we had the last month at the old house, the last month rent. So I had a month rent in each house. So I was just vegging everything. And just like freaking, you know, Field of Dreams, man, if you build it, they will come. I was just building this grow room in there. I think I'm trying to remember now if my room is 16 by 11. My flower room is, God, I can't remember how big my bedroom's been so long, but we built it, and you know, I put all those lights in there, and I didn't have that badass air conditioner to begin with. I just had a little teeny one, and we just had a regular exhaust fan. No, we did get the big fan tech. That's right. You know, my buddy kept telling me, you know, hey, you want to do this right. You want to do everything right. And it was the best move I made, was building that room 7 years ago. And I just haven't looked back. I've been real lucky, and just had a lot of fun doing it. And I'm really excited to run some seeds. You know, I'm really excited to do a tent and do a pheno hunt and do all that. And it's just hard, you know, when you got that room, you know. And for the longest time, my flower room, I had that whole thing to where literally every 2 months, because when I was, you know, I would be afraid that I would be having to fight maybe powdery mildew or spider mites or, you know, whatever, thrips or, you know, aphids, you know, who knows what I might have to fight, and I might have to start over again. So then there for a while, even I would have another place. I'd have either a tent, or I'd even have some in my shower under a little teeny T5, just in case that the one room got dirty, I'd have a backup, you know. And I got a partner that I can get some clones from, you know, most of my strains. So that saved me a couple times. I just cut everything down. But now I'm on a perpetual in the flower room, to where every single hood is on its individual timer, you know. So like every couple weeks I'm pulling one down, you know. And I don't know, you know, everybody has their own preference. But then I hear this all the time. I hear guys saying that they like to let their buds cure for 6 months, 8 months. And that's just not me, man. I mean, come on. That is just not me. I want fresh fucking weed. I don't understand these guys wanting this weed to cure. I said this on the show the other day, and Dr. MJ thought I was, oh, wow, and I won't even smoke it for 3 months. I'm like, dude, you know, I don't want to smoke it after 3 months. You know, and everybody to each their own. You know, not everybody drinks whiskey. You know, not everybody drinks beer. Not everybody drinks wine. Not everybody drinks, you know. I like to have fresh weed, so I want it on a perpetual, so I'm pulling it down every couple weeks. I know I'm gonna have, you know, I like to let it, you know, cure for like a week, you know, but not 6 months or whatever, you know. That just ain't me, you know. So hey, and that's controversial, I guess.
I agree with you. I'm right there 100%. I say the same shit. I get the same scoffs. Smiley's Gardens, who's on the show quite a bit, very knowledgeable guy. I got tons of respect for him. We've been back and forth on that 100 times. 100 times. Well, you should just put a quarter up. No, I won't, because I've only had that. I've said this story 100 times too. The closest thing I've ever came to a long-term cure is that moment where I told you when I moved up here and I was smoking those roaches. I moved a fucking cabinet, and it was a nice stand-up cabinet. Opened up drawers and I our doors on it, and I get in there and I found a jar of some sweet skunk that I put back and I forgot about, and that was the closest thing. It had been in there for maybe 5 months, and the only reason it was there is because I forgot about it. And when I found it, it was a treasure. But I can't do that, and I don't. My patients don't seem to like it either. When older weed, they want fresh, sticky. They don't know. I don't like weed that crumbles. I think it was probably when I was listening to you guys' show the other day when they had talked about it being dry. The dispensaries, it's appropriate when you can break it up with your fingers. I don't like it like that. I don't want to crumble my weed. I want to have to take some scissors to it. I don't even want to put it in the grinder. I don't want to dumb my weed down with the grinder. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? You like prefer grinder?
I want it sticky and fresh, and hell yeah, man. And that's funny. You're one of the only guys. I've had a few guys, well, in real life, most of my buddies are that way, but I've had a few guys on the show, and I don't know. I got a couple theories on that, but hey, if it's really good, I just think that you're better off in the first month for sure. I mean, that's just my opinion, but to each their own, and I don't want my weed dry. I don't want it to start, because I tell everybody, it's like, it'll start even kind of turning a little brown, even. You can see it. I mean, hey, that's the beautiful thing about it. You get 10 growers, you get 10 opinions, and maybe all 10 guys are right. I mean, it's especially for your own setup. Nobody can tell you how to grow your weed. Nobody can tell you what the best way to do it in your room is. Because you've been living it, and it's for you and your patients, so what you and them want. So that's the way you do it. And if they wanted it cured, then you cure it. And if you want it fresh, you give it to them fresh. That's how I feel about that.
No, I just actually thought of something funny that, well, again, I show like portions of my room anymore since I do this every day. It's a nightly thing. I'm more paranoid about what I'm showing because I'm live and nightly. You know what I mean? So usually it's like a shot like this. You'll see this go through flower. You know what I mean? But you won't necessarily see the other portions of the room. And and again, I only update certain things like on my Instagram anymore. Like if it's for light purposes, or if I've got some of your testers or something, stuff like that. But I just thought of the funny thing too. I'm almost glad I don't like nightly show techniques and close-ups of everything I'm doing, because I think as I've talked to so many of gentlemen growers like yourself that nightly and heard their techniques and their process, I think a lot of them would probably be pissed to know that I've taken in like zero technique. In 211 episodes, I've changed my my technique like zero. You know what I mean? I think a few people would be like, "Man, God damn it! I talk to you every night, and you're still not doing that shit."
No, I'm the same way. I don't change plans, man. No, and I think there's something to that. You know, it could be us older guys are like that, but I think it's, if you got it where you want it to be, then you don't need to mess with it. You know, I mean, if you're growing good weed, I mean, what else do you need to do? You know, I mean, that's what it's all about. I think, I mean, it's all about growing sticky bud. Some good crystally stuff. And I don't think you need to change it if you're doing that. I mean, and like you said, even now, there's certain things that I'm just like, I don't know if I should say that. I don't know if I should reveal that little bit there. You know, that trick that took me this many years. I mean, I'm sure there's just little things that you just can't. And what is to me is hilarious too is I hear everybody talking. Being on the Cheap Home Grow show, I don't know if I've done no 200 like you're saying, but I've been on there at least 30 times, probably more. But even now, I hear some of the guys, and I can tell that they're not telling you everything, which is fine. That's their prerogative and their business. But not everybody is giving you everything. They're not showing you all their cards. And that's just part of it, I guess. Some of these guys are. Some of these guys on Instagram, I'm sure they are. But I don't know. I try and help everybody out as much as I can, and reveal as much as I can. But then it's just like you said. I mean, it's not just you. I know so many growers who I go in their room and they'll ask me, how am I doing stuff compared to you? And I'll say, man, you're doing everything different than me. I mean, you're using different fertilizer, you're using different dirt, you're using different bulbs. You got your stuff further away or closer. I mean, it's everything. So a lot of people are like that. A lot of guys that know what they're doing don't change it. I think that's a lot of growers that know what they're doing do that. And
I do mix things up occasionally, but it's occasionally.
I do too. I definitely do, and I have more recently. I should. Growth Science sent me a box, and I played around with that a little bit. And, I've gotten a few things here and there, and I've changed different amounts of what I'm giving it, and different. I got supplements that I supplement. See, I supplement my dirt with different things to get the dirt more. I don't even know, more just juiced it up, and stuff that has worm castings in it, and stuff that has bat guano, and stuff that has, sea kelp, and different things, that I know that are going to really feed that plant, in all stages. And I've been real lucky that I got lucky. I hit the ground running really, really early on. And like I said, I don't know if I got lucky. I don't know what happened. I mean, I did get some good advice, and I was smart enough to listen when I was, a young, grower. I definitely paid close attention to the growers that I knew were good growers, and I think that's a big deal. I don't know how everyone has done it. This is still, 2009, I mean, that was a 2008, 2009. That was a crazy time. You know what I mean? That was a really crazy, it's a crazy time we're living in right now, but yeah, that was a crazy time. The housing market was real in turmoil, and everybody was kind of, everybody was kind of broke, and in 2008, 2009 there. So it was a weird time, but I just had a lot of fun doing it, and I always have. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do. I've had a blast. Yeah. And Dude, 70, that is, dude, you know, what's funny is most guys I talk to, most guys, they don't, you know what I mean? Like they just have a little 4x4 room, you know what I mean? Or even 2x4. And that's it. That's all their room. And I'm just like, well, that's like, that's like an appetizer to me, man. I got a lot of stuff I got to do every day, you know? And this leg, you know, I've been kind of up off of it, and I've not been able to get out there, and boy, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm ready to get back into it. And this time, and then the time that I had the open heart surgery, I had to, you know, sit out for about a month, 5 weeks. I couldn't do a whole lot, you know, a little bit, you know, I still do a little bit, but I couldn't do what I really want to do. I'm ready to do it again.
I can imagine going through that heart surgery.
Oh,
I've had that. I've had the shoulder rebuilt. I've had bilateral hernia surgery. I've been put together too many times, but the heart now, that thing would have scared the shit out of me. That's an old eye opener right there, man. You start talking about your heart, man. You really start changing some shit. That's, you know, that's a definitely a wake up call, man. I still think you're way too young for that shit, brother.
Well, I was born with a bicusp valve. So my aortic valve, like your aortic valve, it looks like a 3-leaf clover. It's supposed to. And I was an athlete growing up, and I was a big guy and athletic and all that, but I just was never diagnosed. But see, my grandpa had it, and my dad had it, and about 2016 in July, I was just hanging out, and I went to the beach. And I couldn't really breathe. I thought that I had like pneumonia or something. I thought like there was like water in my lungs. And I went to the doctor, and they were like, "Oh man, you're in stage 4 heart failure right now, and you got to go to the hospital immediately. And you have blood in your lungs. Your heart's not pumping right." And I was just like, "Oh shit!" And I went there, and it was real freaky and real scary. And then they said, "Yeah, you know, we're going to observe you." And after about 6 days, I told my wife, I said, "I'm going to have open heart surgery." And they said, no. She goes, "No, you're just borrowing trouble." You know, and I flat out told the doctor, I said, "Well, hey, I want to go home." And they said, "Well, we got to observe you." I said, "Well, then I'll just have my wife observe me from home." And they said, "No, you're going to have open heart surgery." And I was pretty freaked out about it, but you know, I just kind of got into a good spot and mentally, and just told myself I'm just going to get through this. And I did. And they had to put a titanium valve inside my heart. My aortic valve is titanium. And yeah, you know, it definitely, you grow up real fast, you know, and you really start realizing what's important to you after that. You know, your kids, you know, your wife, everything that your good friends, your family, you know, my mom, just like everything is, you learn real quick what's important and what's not. And it you know, it does suck to have to, you know, like I'm on blood thinners the rest of my life, and it does suck to have this pacemaker defibrillator, and I've gotten shocked by it in the beginning there when my heart wasn't doing great, and that sucked. But it's definitely just like changed me. You know, I'm way more mature now, and I don't take nothing for granted. And you know, you realize that it doesn't matter if it's today or 30 years from now. We're all going to pass away one time. So enjoy every moment, you know, enjoy every moment of every day. And I'll admit, at that time, my grow room, it was always rock and roll. I will say that. Even my whole time, it's been very important to me. But it was getting monotonous. You know, it was getting to that point where I was just like, oh God, I gotta go work in the grow room again. And now, you know, after that, I was just like, I get to work in my grow room. I get to be in there. I get to, have the opportunity to, hit a home run. And there's nothing better than when you grow some really good weed and you pull it out, and somebody, like, even to this day, there's no better feeling when I show somebody some of my bud and they're like, oh man, that's awesome. That, or, I'll go to someone's house and I'll have had it in my car, and then when I get home, I'll take it out, and then later that day I'll go out in my car and my whole car will still smell like it, but there's nothing in there. It just smells like it from before. That real loud, terp weed, and it's just so, I love it. I mean, I love everything about it. And, not everybody gets to, I mean, shit, you're really in the trenches, not everybody gets that opportunity. I know so many people who are big time stoners who never grew a plant in their life once, and
It's a shame because
yeah,
that cultivation, once you put that plant in the dirt, man, it's such a swing. It changes the way you view the plant, the way you're using it. It changes everything about the way you feel about that plant. Am I wrong in saying that?
hell no.
I mean, they should. I
Well,
mean,
how about the feeling when you give it to a patient and that you just gave them something that's high quality, and that, I mean, something that's, really worthwhile. There's and you can tell that they're grateful. That's a great feeling too. Just everything about it. It's a blast. I dig it for sure.
that was, and it transfers. It's endless. The charge that the thing gives you. I mean, I was talking about this the other night. The high that you can get just bumping into somebody and having like a conversation. There's plenty of times I've run into people at the local Walmart, other growers, and sit there and, right out in the open and have that, conversation about what's going on in their gardens and all that. And, as you've got that, good feeling on when you're having that conversation, and then even as you break away there, you're like, man, I just ran into, what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gives you that spring in your step without even using it. There's just so many ways to get a charge from this thing. It's really cool.
Where do you think legalization will be in 5 years?
Mhm. So, as far as in quality, just production,
Do you think it'll be federally legal in 5 years?
in 5 years, well, we're trying right now. So, yeah, I think we're way past the tipping point as far as, states that are legal now. So, yeah, I think we would see it in 5 years. What it's going to do to the market and the home growers and all that, uh, I'm not quite sure, but I am on the component there to where I really don't think they can sustain quality on a large scale to where, like, you could go buy packs of it, like Marlboro or whatever cigarettes, and it'd be just top quality. I just refuse to believe that you'll get mids at best at that point. I just don't think that the love, you have to be there and, tend the plant, put some love into it to make it, really quality, in my opinion. Uh, I don't think I've talked to a lot of large scale growers that say they grow the bomb flower, but I just can't see it on a large scale. Scared of it. Moreover, I'm scared of. I've said this too. Uh, the medical portion of it falling to the wayside. I'm afraid that once it's legal and on a rec level, that less cards will be getting pulled. which will mean less numbers for studies and less money for studies. And I don't know. I would hate to see the medical aspect of the cannabis plant fall to the wayside just because everybody can go out and purchase it at any store or whatever. The availability is there instead of going out and trying to utilize it like you should.
Yeah, it is. It is such a weird thing. I mean, when you think about just like when I was, growing up, and the differences of the quality and the differences of just the availability and just like you said, everything, and man, who knows what's going to happen? You know what I mean? When it comes to like change, because like we ran into a forum. We ran into this guy, one of my buddies, quote unquote, not me, but we ran into a forum, an Australian guy, and he was telling us about how all you have to do is get yourself a PVC pipe and pack it full, and use an accelerant, and you can make honey oil. And we were doing that long time ago, and then had to be about 8
We called
years
it
ago.
earwax back then.
We called it honey oil. So
Did you call it
honey oil? Yeah, honey oil is what we called it. And we were about 8 years ago. One of my buddies said, "Hey man, there's this. I got this bong. It's called a dab rig, and it's meant just." And my buddy's a big time stoner, still a good buddy of mine. And he's like, "This is a dab rig, and you heat this thing up called a nail with a torch, and you put this on there." And I remember the first time I took one, I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Dude, this is." It was the first time in, since I was 16, so almost 18 years, that I thought that anything had really not revolutionized. And I still believe flower will always be, in my choice. But it was a real, I mean, you heard people back in the day saying they had hash, but it wasn't like this. It really kind of changed a lot of stuff. And then a few years later, it's these cartridges. So, but I mean, that just happened in what, the last 8-9 years tops, I mean, and I don't even know how long cartridges have been around. It couldn't be more than 5 years, 6 years. If it was, I didn't know about it. And I mean, what's the next thing? What's the next innovation that's going to happen? Because somebody figured out how to make that cartridge. So, somebody figured out how to do a dab rig. I mean, something else is going to happen. I'm sure.
I'm sure too. Love the Puffco. I don't own one, but man, if I were a heavy dabber, that thing would be just a gift. Yeah, I love the portability of that the Puffco, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, those. I've never even used one, but I know a lot of people who swear by them, and my buddy, one of my buddies was just telling me he just bought one the other day, and it is so ideal for taking it to the beach. And same buddy that brought over that dab rig the first time I ever seen it, and there's so many little things like that are happening. But the main thing is I'm still just like you said, and it's funny. It's exactly what I'm wondering, because I'm wondering, I see the medical side and I get that. And trust me, I'm a medical card holder for 11 years almost, and it's a big deal to me. And like I said, I have a lot of real medical issues that it helps me out with. And I make coconut oil with sunflower lecithin that you got to be careful with it. You got to be careful with the edible stuff I make. But are they going to take away the right to home grow, or more rights for the home grow for the average person that owns their own home to grow weed? Because that would really, I don't even know if they could. I mean, I don't know.
There's in Michigan, they outlaw urban gardens. So there's cities here in Michigan where you can't even grow your own fruits basically in your yard.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
I heard that.
Yeah, that's crazy, you know. And it's, I don't know. I think they'll try. I think they'll try like hell to eliminate the home grow. How they'll do it, I don't know. But I think that's one of the things that's really dragged the feet, because they know it's something that we can do, and we can probably do better for ourselves, and they'll be able to do. And the system's been fucked up from the beginning. We could have a lot better power system. The fossil fuel, the motors we run on are obsolete. You know what I mean? You know why they're still in play? Because the powers that be are still making money off it. They don't want, technology, 0 point motors and technologies to get past, because they won't make no money off that shit. So, as long as there's a money aspect into it, there's always going to be a drawback. They don't want us to be doing things for ourselves for free, or that they can't make $1 off of. They want to make $1 off your internet. They want to make everything they do, especially these days. I mean, you can't even hardly make a click. You can't even store your data. You can't even do nothing without them making $1 off of. And again, even with your growing your own vegetables, they don't want you to do that shit. They want you to go buy the depleted shit at the grocery store. I think they'll fight that, letting us all grow tooth and nail, right to the day of the vote. We'll let you have it, but you fuckers aren't going to be able to grow it. I think that's the way it'll go down right there.
Can you grow weed in Michigan State if you don't have a medical marijuana card?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a good year. Everybody's grows weed in Michigan this year. Yeah, every house, in fact, even me, with my capability of having my, 72, I still am capable of having my 12 on top of that. And this is where it gets fucked up. Okay. So let me tell you how the caregiver gets bent over here in Michigan. We're only allotted so many plants and so much material per patient. And, all together, usable at once, it's supposed to be 15 ounces laying around for the patient. Yeah, I know, right? But see, as a rec grower, whatever I can prove, they have to be separate too. They can't be together, okay? But whatever I grow on the rec side, whatever I can grow on that side, I'm able to keep in that area. So if I can knock out, let's say a pound per plant, just for fucking talking sake here, and I'm able 12. So if I can grow 12 plants and get a pound a piece out of them, I can very legally have 12 pounds in that closet. And they're not going to say anything to me. But to help people use it as a medicine, hands are tied. Oh no, don't you have a fucking gram over? Don't you be doing this, don't you be doing that. But you walk right over into that rack closet, you can fucking roll around in it, you can throw it in the air, You stuff it in your pockets. You can hold all 12 pounds and make a coat out of it if you wanted to. But don't wear that fucking 12-pound coat into the medical area.
Man, you guys got some really good laws there. Here, Washington State is the only state that I know of, and I'm pretty sure because I'm a weed nerd like that you can't grow if you don't have a medical marijuana card. You cannot grow here if you don't have a medical card. So you have to have a card if you want to grow legally. And it used to be to where you could have, like, I could have 3 patients. I could caregive for 3 guys, 15 plants each, and each card I could have 1.5 pounds. But see, they're tightening everything up and this and that, and you guys don't have to register, do you? Do you have to register there?
For medical, yes. For the rec, no.
Right, but I mean, okay, but you do have to register with the medical grower. So like the state, they know. So like the actual state, they know you grow.
Yeah, I get a card from the state, an actual
right
hard card.
Yeah, so yeah, I got one too, and and for the longest time, I didn't have to register with the state. All I had to do was have the medical card, and it got in the state. They get the doctor gave it to me and stuff, but now I have to register with the county, and it's the card they give you looks like a license, and it has like that like on the back of your license that has that like barcode that they can scan it into the system. That's what my medical marijuana card has. They know for like, yeah. So it's different, and they can basically come to your house anytime they want and inspect. But they've never messed with me, and with my health issues, I don't think they will. But you never know. So it's just, I know what you mean. It's jumping through all these hoops, and I gotta, make sure I have this number, and don't do this and don't do that. And yeah, they are trying to control everything. But I mean, I guess it could be a lot worse. They could just take it all away, like you're saying, make you go through the rec rope, pay their prices.
They went
taxes.
Cowboy this year. Here in Michigan. I mean, every relative, it seems like, grandma, grandpa, uncle, if they didn't smoke, it seemed like every person around was like, hey, Unc, do you mind if I like just throw your 12 plants? I know you don't smoke, but can we just do your 12? I'll come over and take care of them. Yeah, there was so much of that went on this year. So many grandmas, uncles that don't use that were suddenly growing this year.
Growing outside?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's the funny part about it. Everybody, because we got a lot of growers that grow outside around here, especially in Oregon and California and everything. And I always tell them, people are like, yeah, you got to worry about all them outdoor growers, and you can't grow weed like I can outdoor. You just can't. I'm sorry. And there is some guys that can do some light depth and some, and some grow, greenhouses and stuff, but even then, and that, you got a lot of testers and stuff, and, you run across a good strain, re-veg it or whatever you got to do. If you don't take clone, man, hold on to those gems you find, man. I'll tell you that much. You find a hidden gem, man, you find that holy grail plant, you better hold on to it, because that terp, real sticky plant, that's the plant that's gonna, it's going to really help you, medically and just on every angle. if you find that one plant, I got two or three that I just wouldn't, unless of course I had to, because, I got hit with some, outbreak or something. But what about the amazing Imes, Dr. Imes? You spray that in veg, or do you just cowboy it up and hope that you don't get nothing?
No, I don't use the Dr. Zymes. I hear it's a good product, but I don't use it. I'm still just trying to break the neem habit in veg. I've started using the West Coast or the Lost Coast plant therapy, and even newer All Purpose Plus, which is a Michigan-based company, which is something I really like. And their that All Purpose Plus is it's an all tube basically. I'll step over and grab the bottle just because I want to plug him. He's a great guy. Just because he's a great guy. Yeah, he is too. He's an awesome dude. It's an awesome product, and so this is it right here, the All Purpose Plus. And it's good for spider mites and eggs, russet mites, fungus gnats, powdery mildew, aphids, molds, and root rot, white flies. You can use it with the lights on or off, and basically essential oils and some other stuff. But I've really liked this product, to be honest with you. So this has been my go-to as of late. And I'm looking into the labs. Oh, another thing about this product that I think is really cool is I ran into him like a couple of weeks ago down in Clio, and he's making a dry version. Damn, here's one right here. I can reach through and grab it without too much work. This is yours, Dirt Road Dude. By the way, if you're watching, this is the one I still haven't sent you. This right here. So this actually makes a gallon of that product. You know what I mean? And
that's
you just add this
version
to water.
Yep.
Yeah. It's and how awesome is that you could buy and ship this versus these. This is 4 of these, or probably even 5 if I did the math. If I remember right, it's closer to like 4.5 of these. But yeah, probably for less price than you would or the same price as you'd probably pay for that one. I mean, why wouldn't you have it mailed directly to your house? I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea, and I did try these, the dry form. He gave me some of these last week or the week before, and I thought it was just as good as the mixed version that I bought from the store. So I don't know. That's my regimen in veg anyway.
Currently. Is that neem oil?
Yeah, that neem oil. I like to switch. Still rotating. But I'm interested in the labs, which is pretty much what the Dr. Zymes says, isn't it? Basically.
I don't know. I got turned on to the amazing Dr. Zymes by Spartan on the show. And I went on, and so I started following them, and then I got a sample, and then I went and bought a concentrated bottle of it. Like you said, that 1 ounce of it makes either a half ounce or an ounce. I have to look at the bottle, but it makes a 32 ounce spray bottle worth of it, and I'm hooked. I spray it. Sometimes I'll spray it twice a week. Sometimes I'll spray it once a week. And like you said, old habits died hard. I got neem oil, and I got all that stuff. And I like to alternate, and just because, I want to be safe. I don't want to have an outbreak. I don't want to have go outside and, because that's the only thing that sucks about my dehumidifier. Well, I guess one of the things is I have to take a trash can. It empties into my big one I showed you. That empties into a trash can. And I have to that trash can will be like, it's literally like this exact same trash can that you have out your curb. At least the one around here. And I have to empty that thing like every other day outside. and I'm always freaked out. So now I have like a bottle of like Lysol that I spray the wheels down and I spray the sides down. You know what I mean? Because I'm afraid something's gonna, latch onto that thing and come back in. But that's why I spray
I have done that for a long time. I usually fucking, if it's questionable, I keep a can by the door too, and I'll fucking hit my legs, around my shoes. Yeah, I'm a firm believer of the Lysol. It's funny. That's why I was laughing when you said it.
Why not?
I've done.
A can of Lysol
I used to do that.
Go ahead.
To the spider mite dude. After the spider mite incident, every time I seen him, if he come near my grow, I'd fucking stop him at the door and just Lysol him. He'd go, "Come on, man." I'm like, "Fuck you, man. I learned my lesson from your ass. Lysol or you're not coming in."
That's awesome. Yeah, no. So one of my buddies, he don't even grow anymore. One of my buddies from high school, he this is hilarious. He told me the story of it. Another one of our buddies who doesn't grow anymore either, but he used to be a big time grower. He thought he had powdery mildew or something, and he called my buddy up and said, "Hey, man, you think you can come over and check out my grow, man? I think I got some powdery mildew here, and I just I don't know, what I got going on, and I just wanted you to come over and maybe look at it and tell me what I have to do to fix it." And he said, my other buddy got there. He walks in the door and looks at his plants, and he goes, "Oh man, you bastard!" He goes, "Dude, you got spider mites." He goes, "Dude, I'm going home and burning my clothes, dude." He did not want to bring those spider mites into his grow room, man. Because, I mean, anybody who's fought spider mites, hell no, I don't blame you one bit. I'd spray that dude down with Lysol too. Like that. Oh, man. Yeah, no, spider mites are no joke.
So Dink Brownies was asking, I'm looking for a preventative. What would be good? What about Demetrius Earth? Damn this tooth. I'm not even going to try it again. Nope, not doing it. I like the All-Purpose Plus, in my opinion. I see it as a preventative just because of the essential oils. The smells is a deterrent. So as you're spraying it, it's doing its job, and then it's leaving the scent that isn't kind for them. So in my opinion, the all-purpose is a bit of a deterrent as well.
I'll tell you one that, that gives me a thought. The one that I use is called Sierra Natural Science, SNS 17. And it's made in California, and it's all natural, and it's essential oils too. And I used that for a long time, and it's got rosemary and a few different things in it. And I use that. You can order on the internet, I'm sure. And I got it from a local, grocery store. But SNS 17, Sierra Natural Science 17, that's one that I use for preventative maintenance. And I think the amazing Dr. Zymes too. That's what I spray with for preventive maintenance. I mean, I don't got an outbreak. You know what I mean? And I spray it once a week, but then and they have on the side of the bottle, it was recommended to me by Spartan, other growers that know their stuff. So I was, I didn't even think twice about it. I tried it and I love it. But no, and I think you could spray neem oil as preventive. I wouldn't say you need to spray neem oil as preventive 5 times in veg, but maybe once they get a little bit bigger, and then maybe 3 days before you flip, 4 days before you flip. And then if you're really worried about it, you could just spray the next time with just water only, just to kind of rinse it off. As preventive maintenance, you can do a lot, and that's another thing, if you've listened to the Cheap Home Grow Show, they got Sink Angel and, all these guys that are ninjas at, preventive stuff and getting rid of stuff. I'm the same way. And you're just like me. I spray neem oil. I spray Nemo, try and spray it at least once in veg, just preventive maintenance, and to switch it up from the amazing Dr. Zymes, and I'll hit that once a week with it usually, and then I think you should do all that stuff. I'll use the SM17. You should use a preventive maintenance, and I would never tell anybody to spray any of this stuff in their flower room, but I have had no problems with it. And I've had my stuff tested before too, Analytical 360, no problems. So it's not, I think you're good to go with, obviously you wouldn't want to spray some heavy duty stuff as preventive maintenance, but I think any guy who's growing should have a preventive maintenance program. I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, why would you wait for it to punch you in the face?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, why? That doesn't make any sense,
Well, the guys that are waiting to get punched in the face haven't gotten punched in the face. Most likely, because you live and you learn.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely hurts when you get punched in the face. So yeah, why wouldn't you avoid it? Why wouldn't you avoid it? Nobody likes to be punched.
No. Do you watch?
Thing too is.
Do you watch the UFC?
Oh yeah. I like the
UFC. Big fight this weekend, man.
Oh, I know it. I'm a fan of Gaethje.
You think he can take him?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I've never been a fan of Khabib there, but
of course not.
He's definitely got he's got some skills. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely got some skills.
Yeah, he does. I hope Gaethje gets him too. But I mean, I wanted the Cowboys to beat the Cardinals last night. That didn't work. So I don't know. Hey, if Gaethje beats him, I think it'll be one of the bigger upsets I've ever seen. But man, I think it's gonna happen. He
just seems like he can take some shots. I know he can take some shots, and he's got a hell of a kick, and he's a hell of a wrestler too. But moreover, I think that cat can just take a punch. You listen to him speak, and he just has that mentality, like where he just take a hell of a shot, just shrug it off, and just keep coming. And I think they'll come into play because he is such a great wrestler. And I think people really discount Gaethje's wrestling game there, but and I think Khabib, he's not a very good stand-up striker in my opinion.
No, he's not.
He uses that wrestling, and then I guess that's the part that I guess keeps me from like doing shit like that. I guess it's because the dirty aspect of it, and that's Khabib. Once he gets to the ground, he gets on your back and pounds you in the back of the head. You know what I mean? And I don't.
Oh yeah.
They're kind of unethical shots. If you can't see it, I understand. Fighting's fighting, but just take a win by beating somebody from the back. Cheap. Cheap. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be a good fight. And they're really I've been really waiting for this fight. Khabib hasn't fought in a long time since Dustin Poirier. And now they're saying Poirier and McGregor there in January. That'll be a good one. I think who knows will win that fight. I almost think I might put Dustin as a small favorite, but
I'm a Conor fan myself.
I'm a Conor fan. I'm a big Conor fan. My 22-year-old son, man, I just started getting him into it when Conor fought Diaz, and he's real into it. And we've gotten into it all that UFC, and we've really been watching it a lot. Hell yeah! So
it's actually the only sport I watch these days.
Wow. Well, that's a good one. Those pay-per-views, man, $60. Whew.
still steep, but I guess.
Yeah.
Gotta have some kind of entertainment, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I am excited for it. Um, man, you run these things a long time, man. Whew. You're well, when you grow, you get a lot of time to do whatever you want. That's like you said, you got to be there for those plants, man. It's just that's part of it. That's part of it, and you get kind of used to it. You get kind of used to being around your house a lot. And yeah, you definitely get used to being with your plants, and just like you said, man, you almost can kind of feel connected to them. Does that change? Does that change when you take on a new strain, or does it just kind of, because I mean, I've taken on new strains, but I don't take them on. I've taken on probably 60 strains, in my lifetime, maybe 70, but I feel so attached to ones that I've had for a long time.
Yeah, you do get attachment. In fact, I've been on the fence of saying that even back when I was taking in clones, that I just never respected the clones as much as the girls I brought up from seed. The clone was always like the stepchild, if you will. You know what I mean? It
Sure.
just it was hard to give it that love as you had from the one you've nursed from, putting it in there. But you just can't keep them all. You know what I mean? You just can't keep them all. Unfortunately, you're limited by numbers, and it's just blind faith. Sometimes that you're gonna, the next ones are gonna be dank. I keep, I've got a suitcase of strains, so out of everything, I keep some back just in case if I ever want to go back, I can go back and pop them. They might not be necessarily the pheno that I had, but at least I'll have something, a representation of something. But yeah, it can be hard to say goodbye to sometimes.
Yeah, I've grown a little bit from here and there from seed, but it isn't like, to me. I'm a big clone guy just because I like that uh, familiarity, and I like the reliability. I like that. I know exactly what's going to happen, and I know that, especially in summertime, man. When you're going to hit that heat, you might, have some Hermy stuff, and it seems like heat's one of the number one triggers, huh? I mean, I now that I think back, it's always in that, it's always in that summertime, you know.
It's definitely a factor, that's for sure. Definitely a factor that it attributes to it. But like I said, moreover than not, the every time that, and again, the whole Hermy thing is like it's a touchy subject with me too. The true harm is going to show itself regardless. You know what I mean? It's going to be apparent. There ain't nothing you're going to necessarily do or have done. It's just a fucked up plant. Now, a banana, they want people like quick to call that a herm, but that's more or less a stress thing. The plant realizing that it's kind of it's in danger, and it's like putting out one last effort to save itself there. And that's and that could be a single banana. It could be a whole. It's very rarely the whole plant. It's just one or two bananas. When it does happen, a few sites that have been compromised, And is that a harm in itself, or is that just stress or something that you've done? It's something that you've done. It's not necessarily in the genetics, and it's going to be brought out every time. And more every time that almost every time that I've gotten a banana, it's been from pushing it hard in flower, later in flower, when I should have been backing off. I've was still pushing forward, not running the strain before. You know what I mean? It's still in
Yeah.
testing, and I'm not quite sure of when that flower time is. I'm just pushing, and that's when it's throwing banana. And same strain, same strain. You know, even with the banana, finding that time and then backing off. I've had strains that's never done it again after finding that sweet spot. But moreover than that, it's been from being not knowing the strain and pushing it harder when I should have been letting off is when found myself getting bananas.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I get bananas here and there on certain strains, and I don't consider that harmy. I almost consider that just kind of like a warning that if you pushed it too hard, that it could have that tendency. But I mean, I don't know if you've had a plant really harmed to where, like I said, where it sprayed your whole room. That's what I'm afraid of. And I have had that happen twice. And it was both new strains, taking on new strains, and which I've done countless times other times and not had those problems. And what's jacked up too is
when you say herm, it did actually show female pistils and then had male flower.
No, it didn't have male flower. It was a clone. So it was a female plant, and it was budding. But just like week 4 or 5, it bananaed out all over the place and opened. Not just showing those bananas, it opened and sprayed that whole room. And the buds off of the plant that sprayed, where it would spray, where it opened up, there would be just huge clumps of seeds around it. Clumps. I mean, like a 2 by 2 inch bud, you could have probably squeezed out 15 seeds right by where that thing opened up. Big, full, mature seeds. And it made me want to cry. I can tell you that much, because it's a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of time. And, any grower who's grown a lot has had plants not turn out as good. It's just part of it. And you always feel, at least I do, I always feel a little just, I don't know if it's embarrassed, but just a little sad, just because, it's pride, you want to be that guy, you want, but not every plant that you grow and every bud that that you pull down and you put in your, drying rack or however you do it is going to be Instagram worthy, or it's going to be show your buddies and brag worthy. But there's just nothing like that feeling when you pull down a lot of it that's like that. That feeling of looking at it like, dude, that is chronic, and I'm very happy with what I did, and I'm very happy the way this turned out, and I'm thankful for this, and I'm glad it all worked. But then there's that, like I said, there's the time where it was going to be big buds, and I'm the first one to say that I believe both times that mistakes were made by me. I don't know if it was the strain's fault necessarily. You know what I mean? It probably was something to do with my heat stress, or too much fertilizer, or heat stress and too much fertilizer, or light leakage, or because my veg in my flower room is,
sounds to me in that instance it was could have been a watering, I don't know how if you mix larger containers or if you're like by the gallon or what. Like, but if there's been times where I've been mixing smaller amounts like by the gallon, and going up to mix my newts, and then all of a sudden you know, did I put that one in there? I don't know. Put it in there again. So maybe have double dosed on like a certain, you know what I mean, input. I know I've been guilty of that.
It could be, and that's a good. I'm glad you said that because I didn't think about that angle, but I don't think so. But because I'm pretty good about it, I do mix all my gallons by hand. I don't believe in a reservoir because I don't think you get the true vigorous with what the stuff, the organic black juicy stuff that I use. I don't think it just, I just don't think it works as well. But I know what the fertilizer looks like in a gallon. You know what I mean? And because I have accidentally done that. But see, what I do is it like you said? I mean, everybody does that, But I try and get I have like a routine, like this cup, and then this syringe, and then this syringe, and then I'm done, and then this little syringe, and so I get into a habit of doing it a certain way and kind of knowing. But anytime I've thought that, what I'll do is I'll take an empty gallon, 2 empty gallons, and I'll pour half, and then I'll pour half water to try and fix that. And I've heard guys say, "Oh, I just pour it out." Well, I don't do that. No, I don't do that.
I don't either. That shit costs money.
It sure does.
I just try to fucking remember, and I know I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah. I'm sure
it's just so easy. I'm the same way. I try to do the same routine, but every so often, I mean, text, dog parks, Dad. Shit. Which one? Shit. I think I put it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just happens, and sometimes in the mix of the routine that
that's a really interesting thing. You think that might be more of a trigger than like leaving the door open, you think, huh?
Oh God, yes. Oh yes. I'm not bullshitting you about the light thing. I argued with Jack about that not so long about it too. He tried to, I'm like, for real. And I know it's funny because the night I'm sitting there arguing with him about it, I knew my tents were open behind me. And, anytime it happens, that's just what I do. I don't even bother giving them a short cycle. I just let them ride it out like that, let the light come back up, and I pick the schedule back up on the next day. But yeah, moreover, it's almost always a blast of nutrients in the wrong time that will throw that banana.
Well, I still firmly believe that it was the lights, and I really do know that I've seen where the light leakage will come out, and I can see where the bananas will form. So I know that. Well, I mean, I don't know, but I know that a lot of growers that I respect have said that same thing. But I'm open-minded, and I think there could be something to that. Over fertilizer could be part of it too. So I'm gonna definitely keep that in mind.
For me, when I've seen it happen, it's almost always like when it's a light thing, it's a leak that comes down and it's like beaming on that one part of the plant. You know what I mean? It's never like the whole room. It's always just like that one portion of the plant that's getting that laser, light right on it. And but again, each their own. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. And that goes back to my point. You know what I mean? I don't know, if you have had a problem in your room, you know what I mean? That's, that. Yeah, you muted yourself again there. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but yeah, no, you only know, really. You know what I mean? Like what's really going on in your room, whether or not that light was, and if that light is not, that light being on when it's dark like that, if that's not messing with your room, then it's not messing with your room. It's not, a figment of your imagination. What's going on in your room. I know what's going on in my room right now. Of course, because of my ankle, it's weird time, and it's the first time in about 4 years where I have been out in there. You know, I haven't been out in there every single day for years straight, but you know that today was I had been there for a day and a half. You know, I mean, and that kills me too, man. It just kills me, even though, you know, my lady, you know, she knows what she's doing, but you know, she's not gonna know what I know, you know. You know, nobody can.
Hard
Like
not
I
to
said,
micromanage when somebody's helping you out too.
oh, I can't even watch her. No, I told you don't do it that way. Do it this way. Yeah, it's a crazy little thing there, for sure. And you get into a routine of empty this dehumidifier at this time, mix this gallon this way, you know, make sure you give it this much. Oh, well, you know, you're supposed to give that plant, you know, half a gallon, but if you can look at it and it doesn't need half a gallon, don't give it half a gallon. And if it needs 3/4, give it 3/4. You know, I just know, just because, you know, I can tell by looking at it, because we've done it thousands of times, you know. I mean, yeah, it's I am curious about the cocoa. You didn't think you lost any taste when you went from soil to cocoa?
Maybe a little bit, but it wasn't something that I didn't turn around and, you know, tweak out with inputs in the cocoa side. Even now, I'm running salts, a 2-part salt, but I occasionally, depending in where I am in flour, will add a little bit of fish emulsions, a little bit of molasses, a little bit of, you know, organic stuff to help sweeten things up. But yeah, I'm a firm believer that you can run just as good in cocoa. Who was it? Midnight Roots was he's been like 11-time cup winner here in Michigan. Now has won a bunch of cups, you know, of Colorado, all across the country. And he told me one story of winning in Colorado there, and everybody there was organics. All the other award winners. He took second place there that day. Were raving about their organics, and when it come time, he said he walked around quiet that day because everybody was organics. But they were kind of like raving about, you know, the Turk profile on his, and he said he kind of bit his tongue until he actually got the second place there, and then he kind of dropped the ball that he was running salts, and then he said everybody just soured at that point. Nobody wanted to hear that shit, that he almost took them all with the salts.
That is hilarious.
Especially after they had been giving him props all day long on the taste of his flour too. He said he soaked it up, loved every second of it. I'm like, I would have too. I would have too.
In cocoa, do you flush at the end?
For certain. Not as much as I think that could be done. You know, and again, I said that wrong, because I'm on the whole flush thing. I think is kind of funny. It's a funny subject, really.
Because, it's a very funny subject.
You know, the plant's only going to take up in the latter stages of flower there. It's only going to take up what it wants to take up as far as nutrition, in my opinion. You know, will it take up mainly water? Yeah, if it's only got water, yeah. But when you think about flushing it, you know, most people think, oh, I need to get that shit out of the plant. You ain't going to get shit out of the plant, dude. If it's taking up some bad shit, heavy metals or whatnot, it's not coming back out of the plant. The only thing you're going to do is starve the plant. You're not taking anything back
you
out
know,
of it.
You know, and that's funny that I'm kind of a dork sometimes, and I always forget. When I say flush, I don't mean like you said, typical flush. Like, I'm not pouring water out the bottom. I just give it water only. I just water with water only, like I would the normal way. And then I also give it a little bit of molasses when I give it water only. There's a little old school guy trick when it comes to dirt there for you guys. And I don't do it, I like do it like I'll go like at the end, the last like 12 days, I'll go like water, like 5 milliliters of some really good molasses, and then give it that sugar to, help it produce a little bit more sugar and help it trichomes and help it just give it a little bit more sweetener and just whatever the plant needs there. And then I'll go, fertilizer water, molasses water, and then I go water only I do that for like 12 days. But that's because I use a lot of organic stuff. I use a lot of back guano. I use a lot of fish stuff. I use a lot of, sea kelp and just a lot of really, the stuff that I use is so the gallon, it's dark, I don't use a lot of salt-based stuff, but I do use some. And that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of a hybrid grower myself. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of my buddies are all just straight organics, but I'm not. I do everything. I'm just, I'm the same way. A lot of people would be like, what? You're adding this and you're adding that, but it works for me, and it's taken me a lot of experimenting and fine tuning over the last, almost 11 years to do it this way. And, I love it, and I love the way it tastes and I love the way it looks and smells. And, I have a blast doing it. So I don't, like you said, if I want it, and I do have salts in mine, it's not like I'm salt based, but there's definitely, salt aspect. I think that you need that. I think your plant needs all of it. You need all of it, and you need it in different stages, in different amounts. And, the first 2 weeks, I don't give it really much salt at all, but then I give it that salt, weeks 3, weeks 4, weeks 5, week 6, week 7. And then if I'm going to push the plant, 9 weeks, then, I make sure that it, I always make sure that don't give it salt 2 weeks before and then 2 weeks at the end. So that's one of the things I do, one of my little ways. But, yeah, go ahead there.
For me, it's a little different. It salts in the beginning, and then I pull back, and that's when I kind of transition mid-flower with the fish and the molasses there. A little less salt, a little bit more fish, a little more sugars, a little less salts, and then take the salts out, a little more fish, a little molasses, and then water last week there. They want to know, do you reuse your soil? Run boy 7426.
No, I don't. But you know what? I do, but I don't for pot plants. I use it for my vegetable garden, my strawberry beds, all my outdoor stuff. But I actually have been wanting to start a worm bin because of some of the stuff I've seen some of these guys doing over in the Cheap Home Grow show. And I would, and I know guys that have, and I don't think I would be like, you know what I mean? Like, I would, if somebody, like, if you were like, hey, I reuse my dirt, I would be like, oh my God, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But to me, I didn't do it. And I got such good results. It's like, I don't want to rock the bed, but I will tell you this. I used to get the best deal on dirt. My buddy owned the best grocery store around here. And then something happened with him and he passed away. And that was a big time bummer. And his old lady is I mean, hey, it could be the fact that everything's going up. You know what I mean? I don't know, but all I know is I got 10 bags of dirt for $100 and now I'm paying 130. So that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, and conveniently when my buddy Chris died, then this happened. It's like, but you know, you got to pay it. You know, you got to get that dirt. And then I'm talking to my buddy. He lives in Oklahoma, and he goes, say what? You're paying $13 a bag? And I go, yeah, $13 a bag. He's like, dude, I'm paying $18. I was like, oh shoot. So I don't know, you know it, but I had another buddy who did reuse it, and it was in the beginning when he had told me about it, and I remember, like, you know, why, you know, why would you do that, you know? And then I mean, as you just wait, one of these days I have posted videos to my Instagram of my room, but then I usually will delete them, but I'll post another one. And I can even show you some pictures of, you know, back in the day when even I just have those 4 or 5 lights and I'm really out there and I'm really pushing it. Like, my plants are big, you know, even I'll get 2 big boss hogs, you know, in like 7s under one light, you know, and I might get 20 ounces off just 2 plants under one light. You know what I mean? I don't do the 1 pound per light thing, but you know, and then sometimes I'll do 4 plants and 5s underneath it. But to bring it full circle, my buddy in the beginning, he's telling that, and he was actually a pretty decent grower, and he's like, yeah, I only grow in 2 gallons. I'm like, you only grow in 2 gallons? And he goes, yeah, because I don't want to pay for the dirt. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? You're paying like, you know, a little bit more for the dirt, but you're getting way more weed. It doesn't, I mean, yeah, you're not losing money there, buddy. You know, I mean, yeah. So you got to really be careful on, and I get it. You know, that was the whole purpose of, and one of the coolest things I was so stoked about when Shane brought me on to the Cheap Home Grow, because I just love that you know, the whole thing. The name is awesome, Cheap Home Grow. You know, how do you be a cheap home grower? You know, because really growing is how do you know, save money, you know? So if you're to answer this guy's question, if you're reusing your dirt and it's working for you, do it. But if you reuse your dirt and you get, like, you know, your numbers are off or your plants are a little yellow or whatever, you know, I might back off on that. So like that ocean forest, you know, you get some really good stuff in that stuff when it comes to your veg. You know, you get some nutrients in that dirt that, you know, you don't even, it's, you know, worm castings and just all kinds of stuff is in the, you know, read that side of the bag. There's all kinds of stuff in there, and it helps your plants in that, you know, that veg time. Like when I clone them, I take them directly out of the cloner, and I use like an aqua cloner, and then I'll just kind of wrap them in like a Dixie cup, and I'll leave them there for 2 weeks. And everybody's like, oh, that ocean forest is hot. No, man, I put those clones right in it, and they love it. And then I don't give them any fertilizer for like the first 2.5 weeks, unless it needs it. You know, if it starts to look a little yellow, or then I will give it to it, but normally it don't. But ocean forest just gets it going right on. So, you know, and when it comes to reusing dirt, it's like, you know, what kind of dirt do you have to begin with? You know, if you didn't have a whole lot of, you know, stuff in the dirt that you were using, that you were used to using, you like sunshine number 4. Using sunshine number 4, there's nothing in it. You know what I mean? You might get some salt buildup or something from, you know, if you know, whatever, some buildup in there, but it's not got stuff in it like ocean forest, you know. And I mean, and I have used sunshine number 4, and it just seemed like I had to use so much more fertilizer to get the same result, you know. So that sunshine number 4 is pretty expensive stuff too.
Yeah, it is. Man, that's why when I found this chunky cocoa, man, the price was right. And what I like about it is I can reuse it a couple of runs before it like breaks down to the point where I don't like it anymore. Once it gets down to like a real fine cocoa, like almost what you would buy, you know, from a lot of these other places, that's when I chuck it. I don't like it when it's, you know, super fine. I like the super aeration of it. So what I found is I think I can, you know, pretty much get 3 runs out of it. and I mix it, as 1-to-1, 1 10-gallon to one block. When so it's half new, basically half new, half old the next time around, and then one more time after that, I guess done.
Heck yeah.
Another thing I liked about one of the reasons was for the chunky is I was running the Pro Mix, man, in my yard, because dumping it out in the yard there. My yard was covered in friggin' perlite, and I wanted desperately to get away from that perlite. And the chunky coco offered the aeration that I wanted, but didn't have the perlite. So I could start dumping it in my yard again without having the white BBs that were giving me away all summer long.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I got the white BBs with the white dirt, and I do hate it. I was like, I pour in the backyard even, but someone's like, oh, what's this?
Good hard rain. Usually you can notice that after a good hard rain, the grass is matted a little bit. You're like, did it hail? I don't remember it hailing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's
It was terrible for me too when I moved up here, because I'm actually in Huron National Forest. I can say it because it's a big forest. Good luck throwing a dart in the forest without finding me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but when I moved up here, it's all sand. All the houses around me basically have that, patchy grass, sand yard. You know what I mean? And I move up here. I start dumping out in the yard. You could see the perlite. Not only that, I'm the only one that's got a decent lawn. So once the front yard filled in, I had a nice green yard. But I worked my way I'm about 3/4 of the way around right now, all the way around the house. Because it looked like when I moved in here, it looked like somebody stuck this house in the middle of a fucking beach with just little patches of grass. And I had to figure out something. That perlite was it was telling on me. It was it got to the point where it was like, and I lived close to a military base too, to compound things. I was like seriously afraid that they were flying over, and was like, holy cow. That guy's yard's nothing but white. Wonder what's going on over there. So
yeah,
paranoia got to me.
I'm paranoid myself, so I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, no, I know what you mean about that perlite. That's a dead giveaway there. And it's not just what I mean, like you know what I mean. I've seen people looking at the perlite in my backyard, and I'm just like, oh boy. Yeah.
Moreover, in my garden, my vegetable garden at the old house, a few years of growing there, my vegetable garden turned into a mecca of used soil. So it was like, you went out to the vegetable garden and it looked like an indoor container. There was so much fucking perlite and shit in there. There was just no chance that was just straight up soil. What can you do?
Hell yeah. Yeah, fuck, I just love it so much. I love growing, and it's nice to meet someone like yourself who's passionate about it as well. That's, you got to talk to all them guys over there, man. All those guys, those are all good growers, man. All of them, all these guys over here at that Cheap Home Grow, man, they all know what they're doing. I feel blessed to be around all of them, and I've learned a lot from them, and I hope that I've been able to help a few people out, and a few people are interested, and it's what it's all about. It is nice to give back a little bit, and give people, be able to answer the questions. I've had some people direct message me, and I try and answer all the questions the best I can. And yeah, no, it's a blast. And eventually, I've been thinking about starting one of these type things myself. Eventually, but man, I have a lot of fun just doing the one show, a week, and hanging out with all the guys and just being able to talk with the growers. And like this last weekend, we just did a show about just kind of like we were doing like stoner music and stoner movies and just had fun, but we'll talk some serious, grower stuff. And yeah, it's fun. Sure.
Oh no, you guys are definitely laying down some knowledge over there on Sundays. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I definitely watch. I'm a weekly watcher. You see my name in chat over there all the time.
Which one is your name? And I follow you on Instagram, but I'm kind of a newbie on Instagram. I've only been doing it for like maybe a year and a half, and I'll have to make sure I follow your YouTube page and check out some of your shows, especially some of your shows with Jack and Spartan, some of these other guys, and see how they react on a one-on-one situation. It's a cool thing,
And I think I've had everybody in the industry, or I think I've had every YouTuber on.
Nice.
I'm serious. There's not too many I haven't. Tara Lee I haven't had on yet. Fumador I haven't had, but I've had pretty much all the Embracing Organics crew on. I've had all the Michigan Bros Grow Show, and you pretty much are tying up all the loose ends on the growing my fellow home growers there. Danny Danko. I've had a ton of breeders on. Commercial growers. Man, I've had a lot of people on this last 212 episodes, man. You name it. There's been a lot of great. We've had made hash live on the air. Done shit 420. 420. That's the only one that's missing, as far as I know. YouTube never let that one play, but 420. I went for 24 hours, actually 26 hours live on the air, smoking and having guests on. I actually did 2 hours on the Michigan Bros Grow Show there. Took a half hour and then broadcasted from 11:30, 11:19 to 11:30, 4:20. Was solid. I mean, I was on air the whole time. Just briefly enough to get up and go to the bathroom and come right back and start at again. But yeah, I guess so. You've got, if you're looking for my content for me, you've got 212 episodes of this, tons of garden updates, and then I was on the Grow Show there for the first 42 of that. So
the Michigan Bros Grow Show.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny how that works out because, I don't think Shane necessarily gets as much props as for starting a lot of this as he did. Because as you pointed out there, he started out like this kind of format and then started it, the several programs he's got there. And then it spawned off with the Sequence and Skill Bow starting the Michigan Bros Grow Show there. And they hit me up. I was their second. I was supposed to be the first show, but I ended up being the second show. But they coaxed me in out of not wanting to be live. I mean? They broke me up out of that. And then, so Shane started them kind of, and then they broke off, and then I went with them, and then I kind of broke off. And so Shane's kind of left a legacy of these kind of shows. Actually, in February, he hit me up on, I think it was February or January. Shane hit me up and asked me if I would wanted to do at least an episode over there, and I respectfully passed because I was kind of at a point where I was ready to hang up the social media at that point. So I told him no, that I was gonna actually hang it up, and then I turned around like a month later and started this. So yeah, there's quite a bit out there with my name on it. It's all Eagle Gardens.
That's
Eagle
that's
Gardens
that's
are on
that's
Eagle
it. Eagle
Gardens 1 on
Gardens.
Instagram. Yeah, YouTube's Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and pretty much everywhere. Eagle Gardens 1.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I just subscribed there. Like I said, I'm not so hot on doing everything, when it comes to all the social media. I'm still just kind of learning. I'm pretty tech savvy, but I'm that old school guy. I don't really do a lot of social media stuff. Like I don't go Facebook much, and but I am starting to kind of, definitely, try and branch out. And yeah, any questions you got, or anybody that's got, I'm more than happy to try and give my perspective here on, what I do. And I feel, like I said, I've, said it so times, it's like a broken record, but I just, because of my health and stuff, man, I just feel blessed to do it. I just have so much fun doing it. And it is getting to the point now where that what you said earlier, that really kind of rang home with me. It's like I'm 41, and it's like, it's time to give back a little bit, and leave that first. If I could just get one guy who's having a tough time in this grow room with one angle or another, and give him a couple pointers, that'd make me feel good, and because there wasn't nothing like this when I was, what I mean. I had you had real grower friends, you know what I mean, in real life that you call, and they probably didn't want you to talk to them on the phone about it. You have to go to their house and talk to them, But I was lucky in that aspect. I knew quite a few good people that were growers, and I kind of was worried about the whole growing scene there for a while, like it was almost the point where it wasn't even really, for a while there, if you wanted to have the experience was a big deal, but you couldn't really grow weed and be competitive with the grow stores around here, about 2 years ago. The price of good weed was, pretty good weed, not great weed, not, really good craft weed, but, B grade weed, B plus even was getting so cheap around here that I know a lot of guys that, I mean, you could have gone on Craigslist and just seen just grow equipment after grow equipment and they were just dumping it. And, that was never for me, man. I was always going to grow. And that's funny, is right around then. And I see Noahtheegrowa, because it was the Growa is Growa. So Noahtheegrowa, it kind of rhymes. But I got that idea from Coma the Grower. I don't know if you know who he is. Coma the Grower is on Instagram, and yeah, he goes live and stuff. And I watched him quite a bit. And Coma the Grower would play video games, and you know what I mean. But once in a while, he'd drop
He's a crazy cat.
Yeah, he is. But he would drop
He's fun
a little.
To watch.
Yeah, he is. He drop a little knowledge bomb on you, though. And I remember thinking it was about 2 years ago, and I was thinking maybe I should get involved, in some type of a social media thing where, you know what I mean? Because there's always going to be people that are interested in growing, and I know enough that I could give back a little bit, and eventually I'm going to do something. I don't know what it is. I have a few ideas myself, but I'm just happy that, this opportunity right here, I'm glad you had me on. I appreciate it. I have a great time. And just any time that, you can get out there and you can get into that, because it's kind of like you said, it's almost kind of like a niche thing. It's kind of new, and it's like, it's not taboo, because it's legal, but it's that gray area where, and we're, it's growing up, it was illegal, and now it's just like, it's a lot of fun to be able to talk about it. And, just little things. I'm pretty observant, but when you said that earlier about maybe over fertilizing, it's like, I wonder if that could have been it. I know that door was open, and I know that my other buddy got that Zucchi's plant from my other buddy, and he told me right off the bat, he said, dude, cut that out. And I'd already grown it once, and it had gotten bananas, but it didn't spray. And he goes, dude, that plant harmed out my whole room. And I said, oh, no, it's all good. And then, like I said, I had that disaster, and, it harmed out 6 pounds. But we fought that, and that was a really tough time. I mean, hell, there was people that were getting, decent ounces here in the Vancouver, Portland area, man, for $80 an ounce, straight up, in the stores all day long, 20 different flavors. I mean, it was just like, you couldn't get, like, even the high grade stuff was, more than that, probably 25 an eighth, but it was just ridiculous how cheap it was.
5 years ago. Yeah. That's what it was here. The when people started first growing outdoor, we had a wave and it drove the price down so far. Then we're still the backpack days for us here. And it got so bad. Pardon me?
Backpack days from Canada?
No. That was the caregivers, when you could almost tell us all apart, because we were always had a backpack full of jars there, and you could go from dispensary to dispensary and off your overages, pretty much.
Nice.
And so it got so bad to the point there, the market where you're talking about, that the outdoor drove us so far back that I had to actually give up a lot of my regulars, because the price had reverted so far back. It would be stupid for a businessman to go, okay, I drove you back from $1.50 to 70, but now things are good again. I'm going to start giving you $1.50 again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. So I ended up having to cut out all my regulars and go elsewhere to get my prices back up, and then let the other things go the other way, and then go back to them later on once the market had picked back up and I had more of a leg to stand on. After they had missed my product for so long, they were willing to pay for it again. But at the way things were going, they basically had you under their thumb. There was nowhere to go, because like I said, they'd been stupid to just, okay, it's a new day, I'm going to start giving you double again. You know what I mean? It just wasn't going to happen. I had to rock the boat.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about, and that's a tough deal. It really is. But man, has it come roaring back this year? It's almost like all the growers got together and subconsciously, you know what I mean, without talking about it, just we're like, dude, we're either gonna, you know what I mean, like, because I know guys that were saying that they were just getting just completely screwed over by the stores. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it's like, if the guys in the, are turning loose this stuff, it's so cheap, what are they giving the growers? You know what I mean? They can't be giving them anything. So I'm just real happy that it's getting to a point where it's rewarding to be growing your own. And I always encourage everybody, man. You know, they have you can get little teeny tents and little teeny lights, and one of Shane's buddy has like a little armoire thing that he sells. But I mean, you can build yourself, you know, you can get one of these tents and put it up in the corner of your room, or you can do a lot of stuff, man, and learn while you're doing it and have fun. And yeah, it's a blast. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. It's difficult to explain to people sometimes about how I do things because I don't even measure. You know what I mean? I just pour sometimes, you know, because I've done it so many times, and I wonder if maybe maybe I have over fertilized. But the stuff that I use is, you know, I've used it pretty consistently and pretty good results. So I don't know, but you never know. You could be over fertilizing, you know. I always err on the side of under fertilizing, just that way I'm not going to have that problem. Maybe, and I didn't even think about it. I just subconsciously, you know. But I do think that good genetics is a great starter. What about you? Have you found better genetics are more stable and less you know, tend to hermy, or?
Yeah, for sure. Well worked genetics
is a great
are definitely
a great starter.
What's that mean?
No, that was my phone there. Sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, definitely a great start. Great genetics, because there's so many I hate to say it, but there's too many pollen chuckers out currently, and not enough quality breeders. You know, the quality breeder has taken the time and, you know, test some of it before even put it out to his testers, and is, you know, pretty damn reliable to where, you know, if that breeder hasn't had a lot of time or reputation, they've just smacked things together, and a lot of times things have went out without testing. So I don't know. You know, there's just too many people trying to smack whatever's the popular together just to make a buck. That's my thought on that. And not enough quality breeding going on.
Subcool had some pretty good stuff, is what I've heard. It's a bummer deal. I didn't get to try it out. And I think I might have tried something. You know, you know how it goes. I got a clone one time, and somebody, yeah, this is, you know, one of this. This was that, but you never know. You know, when you get a clone, that's the one thing. You know, I know I got some decent stuff from Coma, from his prolific coast seeds, that he gave me some meow that I'm gonna try and run. And I definitely, there's a place over Portland called Archive, and they got some stuff, some seeds over there that I'm gonna try and get some. And yeah, I definitely, like I said, I got that tent. I'm gonna set it up this winter. I didn't want to fight the heat this summer, but I'm gonna do a big old pheno hunt this year. And I am just paranoid about the, you know, a plant herming on me, but, you know, it could just be subconsciously I'm paranoid about that. Maybe it you know, I do know that guys that I know and respect are, you know, swear by it, you know, so I'm going to break out of my shell and do some new stuff, you know, for sure.
I hope so. I hope so. You know, it's funny. Sometimes I feel bad, you know, like when I'm talking to people about the garden. Because I think a lot of times people expect, you know, oh, I've got that cookies and this and that, and, you know, all what's hype right now. I think that's what it's expected to be in my garden. A lot of times, what's in my garden, I tell them either you'll hear about what's in my garden in like 2 years, or you won't hear of it at all. Because a lot of times I'm not even growing anything that's even close to hype, and almost everything that's in the garden still in testing phase. So, like I said, either you're going to hear about it later, or you won't hear about it at all. And at that point, by the time you've heard of it, I'll be done. I'll be already moved on.
Yeah, that's definitely part of that, testing and all that. I get that, and I do feel it, and that's why I'm going to try and put that 10 up. But I do just think that there is something to, yeah, and I know what you mean though I do know what you mean about the hype stream. But have you ever grown Gorilla Glue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of variations of it. We got to the point where I'm not even a fan. I don't even want it in the garden anymore. It's a lot of times when I'm offered seeds, I did now that I say that, I just, my tester right now from Tight there, half Gorilla Glue, half Face on Fire. A lot of times when I see that, I'm like, let's sit this one out. Let's sit this one out. Get me up for the next round. It's just, I don't know. Just kind of over it, It was good. It's a good strain. Grows real well. Would it be my island strain? Not even a chance. Actually, I've told this story 100 times too. Josie fucking put that thing right in my gut. Right in my gut. At the High Times. The first year he really started putting out clones because he gave it out for free the first year. And I was at High Times here in Michigan, and he had a tent all set up, and I walked by that thing many times, didn't even think about it. I walked by, and he practically put that one of them right in my belly. Here you go, man. You're going to want this. And I looked at him because I walked by that tent so many times that day. And at the beginning of the day, they looked all nice, but as the day went on, it was like super, super hot. And then towards the end of the day, they were all drooped, wanting water, needing water. By the time it was put in my gut, it looked like shit. I thought to myself, yeah, get that buggy bitch out of here. And then fucking couple years later, it was all the rage. I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I would have took that cut, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever. It was too late by that point to worry.
Well, and you know how it goes. You got to get that real Gorilla Glue, man. I've had so many variations of it and different cuts that are like, man, this was okay, but I got a good one. I got a real good one. And I'm thankful for it. And my Platinum Girl Scout cookie, Platinum Kush crossed with Girl Scout cookie, that one is, man, it is real good. And I'm thankful for that. And Fruity Pebbles crossed with Purple Punch, I love that one a lot. That Overflow OG, that's crossed Face Off OG crossed with the Colorado Flow. And that's like supposedly like a real legendary strain. I have never grown that one, but I know the one that I got is really good. And then of course, I know it's the hype strain, but man, and I grew Do-si-dos, 3 different strains of it, and I grew the Do-si-dos F2, and it was just a monster yielder. But man, it did not. It threw bananas big time. And this is just recently, like, I don't even know, like maybe like a month and a half ago, a month ago. And I had, as soon as I harvested, I had 2 big plants of it, and I just cut them. Oh no. Once I've established that a plant has got any major tendency to throw, like, like you said, a 1 or 2 smaller bananas is one thing, but when it really and it starts looking like they want to open, You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if you dealt with that, but like I said, I have. And my room is a pretty high stress room. You know, I got two oscillating fans over the top between my lights and my canopy, and then I have 3 box fans underneath, and I got those 2 dehumidifiers going. I got that AC going, the exhaust fan coming on every 15 minutes for 15 minutes and off for 15 minutes. And you know that the temperature is right around 72, the humidity is right around 47, 48, but it is bright. You know, those 1,000-watt Horlux bulbs, those things are bright, man. And it could be, you know, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm sure it could be my environment, and it could be my fertilizer regimen that is pretty potent. You know, I don't know what it is, but that Dositos F2 did not sit well with me. But that Dosito 55, one of my favorite cuts ever. So like I said, just to bring it back to that Gorilla Glue, you just gotta, you never know. You gotta, you know, you get that right pheno, man. You get that right pheno. You know, that's where I'm at with the Platinum too. I got a real good pheno of it. And I just hate giving stuff like that up, you know. I mean, how about you? If you had, I mean, of all these testers, you had to run across a few phenos you wish you had back right now, right? I mean,
Yeah, there's been a couple, but nothing that's like, you know, that breaks my heart. Nothing that, yeah. Yeah, there's only a couple really good ones. The ones that I would feel that way about are the ones that I haven't been able to find. That pine, that skunk, that, you know, the ones from, you know, early on that I've always wanted and haven't been able to get. Them are the ones I really want. I've had some, you know, really good stuff, but you know, it comes in so fast. It comes in so fast, you know. Well, especially when I was testing for Subdairy, I was always behind the gauntlet. You know, every time I would start to catch up, here would be another 10 packs. You know, so something gets lost. I'm always looking ahead. There's no real, no kicking yourself about what could have been is only gonna get you nowhere. So there's been a couple of good ones, but nothing that I'm like, I gotta have that one back.
yeah, it's funny you say that. All that old school stuff, man, like that old school cat piss bud. You know what I mean? Like you just never see that stuff anymore. And it seems like sometimes it's like some of that, you know, some of the stuff that you get nowadays is just phenomenal, and you know, is really really good. But you know, maybe it's just nostalgic. But I just remember sometimes there being that, you know, that really killer weed that was, you know, expensive, and that you could only get once in a while, and that you wish you had back, you know, that I never grew, but I would love to grow that plant, you know. You would think that with the way everything's going, that there might be some new, you know, you never know. I mean, 5 years from now, there might be some strains that just blow everything we're growing right now out of the water. I mean, look how far we've come in 20 years. I mean,
Right. Well, I was kind of excited. Jinx had I don't even know if he still got it anymore. The sangria there that he had, that China. It was a Chinese strain that he had brought in, that Fudu Mayo, and that thing was pretty good. It was actually something that different that I hadn't seen before. That Shangri-La actually made like a pink hash, bubble hash. It was always really nice. But yeah, I think there's some stuff out there that's yet to be discovered for us here. Yeah, you know, something that's off in some way backwoods countries that just doesn't have access. Yeah, there's places that still don't have internet and shit. You know, so the chances of there being a killer strain out there that we've just never heard of, I think they're pretty good.
yeah, and you know, as you say that, it's like, man, I wonder if, you know, maybe that they can't really breed with what we got
too much more better because it's like, how much can you do before you start undoing stuff? You know what I mean? Because it's like some of these strains are just pushed to the max already. I mean, that Do-Si-Do F2 cut, that was like a very highly desirable strain, hard to get. And then, I mean, the weed was just okay. And it was, I don't think it was, it looked like it was bred probably just for like yield, I think, because it was a really heavy yielding plant. And that's the other thing. It just seems like most plants that yield heavy aren't the primo ones. It seems like the real primo ones are the low yielders. That's just been my experience. But what do you think? I think it's like that plant that yields real heavy, but is really good. That's kind of like the holy grail, really. I kind of feel that way about that Gorilla Glue 4, the pheno I got. It's a heavy yielder, but it's still really good. But it's not maybe as good as my platinum cut that don't yield as much, or my Do-Si-Do's 55 that it doesn't yield as much as those two. I don't think, but I mean, it yields a lot more than those two, but it's not as good, So
Yeah, I definitely think there's a trade-off there, yield for quality, a little bit there. I don't think you can get that like punch you in the face high from a 6 or 7 week strain either. A quick flip, I don't think the strength's there. I think that's it, mid grade, good mid grade maybe, but I think the strong stuff is in the higher weeks, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I had a Cinex strain that was kind of they told me, it's only a 7 weeker, but I would push it 8, but yeah, it's funny. I did that overflow OG, and I didn't. It's kind of a hard plant to find out about, and I did it for 8 weeks because like that's what I had underneath the hood with it. And then the next time I read up on it, and it was said 9.5 weeks, and I went to like almost 9.5 weeks, and it was way better. Huge difference in quality and in size. So I do think there's something to those plants that can last a little longer. I do think it's a little stonier, hit you in the face. I do agree with that. For sure. For sure. Fuck, man, I'm starting to get a little tired here. I really appreciate you having me on. Fucking had a blast. I don't know if you got any other things you want to run past me here real quick, or you go. You just go.
I'd rather.
Go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead there. You go till real late at night, huh?
Yeah, every night.
That is awesome, dude.
So
I'm gonna have to tune in.
So this is how it works. I mean, good time is more than any. With you being tired, I always prefer to let you go rather than to, take you past where you're comfortable. I'd rather have you, leave something for you to come back with.
Absolutely.
And then have you be want to come back instead of oof. I don't know if I could do another one of those, marathons, man. That thing, I'd rather you leave on good terms. But with that being said, as you watch some of these, some of the older episodes, you'll know that even tonight, 420 is usually the mark where that's like the minimum. Sometimes it goes past, but even if you check out now, I'll still pop on and bullshit for a little while, see if anybody else joins in. But that's what I'm getting ready to tell you. Some days there's panel shows. Sometimes there's episodes just like yourself here where the guest, well, you went almost the whole time. but there's episodes where the guest doesn't go, quite as far. And then after that, I'll kick into what I call the rabbit hole. And the rabbit hole is open to all past guests. So I don't know what your time schedule is, when you sleep, when you're not. But if you happen to tune in and we're live and it's a rabbit hole or a panel episode, keep these Zoom numbers because you're a past guest, you can jump in. You see something we're talking about, jump in. That you want to talk about. You just want to, be a box on the screen and smoke with us, jump in. You know what I mean?
Sounds great, man. I'm pretty sure I have the numbers in our direct chat there on Instagram, and yeah, man, I definitely will come back on. I had a really good time, and yeah, especially you have some of the guys on. I wouldn't mind bullshitting with you or anybody else, or even just coming on again myself. Like I said, I had a great time, and yeah, you got my direct message there on Instagram, and you can get a hold of me anytime. And my ankle is like I said, it's messed up right now. But here in a few more months, when I get done in physical therapy, I'll have my room rocking and rolling again. And it's been tough here the last few weeks. Mentally preparing for this, and then it's been I think tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks since I had the surgery. So. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you having me on. And I've already shared the link with my kid and a couple of my buddies. And yeah, no, I'll see if I can get the word out there. And I'm going to show your channel some love and go back and watch some episodes. And I'd love to come back on, man.
I appreciate that. One other thing before you go, hopefully you can help me promote your episode there. As soon as I figure out how to get my video player working again, they don't stop me from recording them. Is I do like these old school sound bites, the radio identifications. So basically what I'm hoping to get from you is something along the lines of limited, but not, no, not word for word, but basically what I'm looking for is something along the lines of, hey, this is Noah the Grower, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 212. You can embellish it, you can chop it down, you can do whatever the hell you want. This is your marker for your episode, but that's pretty much what I'm looking for.
Right on, man. Well, yeah, I'm Noah the Grower from Instagram. And I was on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 212. And thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for fucking coming, man. 2 weeks out of a surgery. I don't know if I'd have, I don't know if I'd be wanting to talk just yet. I think I'd probably be a little on the cranky side still. So hats off to you for being the better man and showing up, my friend.
No, I felt really bad leaving you hanging those because we had it set up, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this, but man, no, I had a blast. This is like my therapy, man. Talking growing stuff. This is my stuff. I'm a big grow nerd, and I mean, any growers that, like I said, you came recommended by very good growers, so and it did not disappoint. So thanks for having me on, and I'll be back on again. And you have a good night.
You too. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yeah, it looks like we went almost over 3.5 hours. So
I think it's more like 4 1/4 at this point.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, man. Well, right on. I'm glad I did do that 10-minute thing you were talking about.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man, and thanks again, man. Time is very precious, and it goes by super quick. And I thank you for the 4+ hours you gave me tonight.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. You have a great night.
You too, man.
Noah the Grower. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I did, man. It was a pleasure getting to speak with him, getting to know him a little bit. He came pretty highly recommended on his end, too. So it was a pleasure to know him. Hopefully you guys are following him on Instagram, checking him out on YouTube, and of course checking him out Sundays on the growing my fellow home growers on Sundays, 7 o'clock with Jack. But that is the end of this one. Still got a few more minutes to wind it down to that 4:20-ish mark. So if you guys want, I'm going to jump up, use the restroom real quick, and then kind of come back, hang out, and talk with you guys for a little bit. Maybe Smiley jump in. I don't know. But we'll see where it goes. See you guys in a few. Thank you. If you guys don't come on, remember, please do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. Firm believer in that. And I can't preach it enough. Hopefully I see you guys in a few. If not,